2063 Cross Bridge. 2063 Cross Bridge. The life-crippling bridge was already this dangerous. It was dangerous for him to go alone. If he brought another, it would be twice as dangerous. The prenatal spirit treasure was good, but it wasn't as important as his life. I'm not asking you to agree now. People here would at least watch for a few decades to a few centuries before they dare to go on the bridge. After you study it, if you're confident, we can do the deal. I don't need you to take care of me. You just need to bring over my lotus stand. Jishi said. Emo understood. Jishi wanted to hide in her lotus stand and then he could take it, which was the same as taking her. This is a good idea. He could hide in his golden page world and control it to cross the bridge. You can go yourself first. If there's danger, then go into your lotus stand. Emo said. Jishi said plainly. If one can enter another dimension, then the life-crippling bridge wouldn't have that name. No one can enter their own world on the if bridge. You can't use spirit sense on the life-crippling bridge. I'm not close to you. Why do you trust me so much? Are you interested in me? Plus, aren't you scared that I would steal your lotus stand? Plus, you've only been in here for this long and you want to leave already? Emo doubted why Jishi asked him to bring her across the bridge. He didn't believe she would leave her life to his hands. Jishi said calmly. You don't need to misunderstand. I won't be interested in anyone. As long as I'm in the lotus stand, no one can steal it from me. If one tries to spirit control it, I can detonate it, and you wouldn't be able to get your gourd. As for why I want to go out desperately, it's my business. I trust you because your spirit sense can for a realm here and your expertise in formation is unmatched. Emo asked in confusion. Does one need to be good at formation to cross the life-crippling bridge? How come I've never heard of this? What does my spirit sense forming realm have to do with crossing the bridge? Didn't you say spirit sense can't be used on the bridge? Jishi said slowly. You can't cross the bridge by walking straight. It said those who are masters of formation can find the right pass. If you take me on the lotus stand, I can help you check the right track inside. If your spirit sense can form realm, you can protect your soul. Even if you can't release your spirit sense, you would have much greater chance of survival than others. Emo fell into silence. If he didn't collaborate with Jishi, then he would have to ask about that path thing. Saint Ji, I agree to the collaboration, but we need to be honest with each other. First, what is that set path you were talking about? Give me a jade slip in it. Second, why are you in a rush to cross the bridge? You must tell me the truth. Emo thought for a while and said in a more polite tone. She came from a big sect. This means Jishi probably knew what was good in the life-crippling forbidden grounds. He would want to share too. Jishi said calmly. How to cross the life-crippling bridge is the heritage from my sect. I can't tell you about it. As for why I need to cross the bridge, I can tell you. Because in the countless years of the immortal goddess sacred sect, they have never abandoned a saint unless she died. Oh, I understand. You were abandoned by the immortal goddess sacred sect, so you're annoyed and want to go back and see what happened? Emo asked. Jishi shook her head. I'm not annoyed. I'm afraid something happened to the sect, so I have to go back and look. As long as I'm alive, I won't allow anything to happen to the sect. Emo sneered. If a Tao Essence Divine Emperor annihilated your immortal goddess sacred sect, can you go bite him? Jishi said calmly. Tao Essence Divine Emperor can't annihilate the immortal goddess sacred sect. She was really confident. Emo didn't want to waste time talking and said, Give me the gourd, you can enter the lotus stand. I agree to your conditions. You're crossing the bridge now? Jishi was shocked by Emo's words. Emo had only been here for half a day and he wanted to cross the bridge. This was too absurd. Of course, if you're not willing, I won't wait for you. I will cross myself. Emo said. He desired to cross the bridge much more. It was unbearable for him to keep staying here. Emo knew that cultivating in the God Necropolis domain was much better than going out, but he didn't feel safe about MOU Immortal Sect. There was also the Luoyu continent unable to immortal ascension. Did Kai Mi solve the problem? He was worried the most about Truth Divine Emperor. Was he reborn? He didn't fear Truth Divine Emperor now, but he was worried about Yimo. From Sujin Wen, Yimo knew that Yimo got Truth Divine Emperor's immortal Carnage Tower. Regardless if Yimo ascended or not, Truth Divine Emperor can probably sense his immortal Carnage Tower if he was down Nourishment Divine Emperor. That would be a disaster for Yimo. Yimo didn't believe that Yimo could completely spirit control the immortal Carnage Tower to prevent Truth Divine Emperor from sensing it. With all this piled up, how could Yimo have the mood to cultivate here? Yimo saw that Jishi frowned and didn't reply, so he couldn't be bothered waiting for her. Seeing Yimo really walk towards the life-crippling bridge, Jishi quickly said, "Wait, I agree, but I can't give you the gourd now. I'll give it to you after we cross the bridge." "Okay," Yimo said. Seeing this, Jishi went into her lotus stand, which transformed into a palm-sized lotus and fell into Yimo's hand. "Dao friend Yi, you're going on the life-crippling bridge as soon as you got here?" Gongyang asked in shock. Yimo said helplessly, "Yes, Dao friend Gongyang, I have some desperate matters to attend to. If I don't go to the life-crippling forbidden grounds, I might not be able to get out. I know me. If I can't go over now, then I wouldn't be able to get over 100 years later." "Okay, Dao friend Yi, you're a decisive person, we definitely should be friends. But I don't do things as decisively as you." Gongyang raised his thumb. As though remembering something, he added, "Dao friend Yi, do you have something unfinished? If you fall off the river and I can do it for you, I will definitely help you." Yimo thought. He was originally going to ask Gongyang to help with the immortal realm. But then he gave up the thought. It wasn't appropriate. "I don't have anything special. Changfei Divine Dao City has this Zhu Dragon God Tower that wants to kill me. I'll kill them after I go out this time. If I can't go out, then Dao friend Gongyang can help me with this. I will be very grateful," Yimo said. Gongyang laughed. "This is a small thing. As long as I can get out, it will be on me." Yimo saluted with his fists. "Then thank you, Dao friend Gongyang, I'll be going first." Then Yimo grabbed the lotus and quickly got on the bridge and disappeared into the mist. "This Dao friend Yi is a straightforward person." Gongyang raised his thumb. If it wasn't that he could subtly sense some laws on the bridge, he might have crossed it like Yimo. As soon as Yimo got on, he was blown by the countless yin qi and felt his essence spirit uncontrollably wobble inside his body. There was nothing he could do. Yimo thought of the path Jishi talked about. Jishi said she could contact him, but he didn't feel it. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2064 So Close. 2064 So Close. G11 was also desperate. She found that the means the immortal goddess Sacred Sect taught her couldn't contact Yimo. Yimo knew that he couldn't rely on her to point the way, so he stopped. He used his body refinement cultivation method and formed a barrier around his body. The yin qi was blocked by the barrier and weakened. Yimo then released a few spirit sense blades and formed a spirit sense realm inside the barrier. Yimo breathed easy. Luckily his spirit will 9 transformations was still useful. When the spirit sense realm formed, Yimo's essence spirit no longer floated around. Yimo sped up, but as he went further, he felt it harder and harder to hold up the barrier. His spirit sense realm was also squeezed. Later on, his essence spirit became floaty again. Yimo breathed and stopped. At this moment, Jishi's voice sounded. "Stand on the yin line, walk along the wall." Jishi just said these words and her voice fell silent. Clearly it was very hard for her to even say that. Yimo looked at the bridge and really didn't understand what the yin line was. Where was the wall? Crack. Yimo's heart sunk. He knew his body refinement barrier had broken. Without it, his spirit sense realm instantly crumbled. 2 lines flashed across Yimo's sight. One had an extremely heavy yin qi. Yimo didn't have time to look at the other one and stepped on the yin qi fine line. When Yimo stepped on this line, he felt that his essence spirit that was almost blown out of his body came back. The extremely inchi blew past his body. Although there was still some inchi where he stood, it was much weaker. Yemo breathed easy. This life-crippling bridge was really strange. Although he was Tao molding Divine Emperor, Yemo knew that he was on par with even Tao actualization Divine Emperor. Yet with such power, he was defenseless on the life-crippling bridge. Luckily she gave him a clue. However, he still didn't understand what walking along the wall was. He could only keep walking along the line. He didn't form Spirit Sense Realm again. It was too damaging to him for his Spirit Sense Realm to break. Luckily he was a body refinement cultivator and had the power of the three-birth chant to allow him to barely protect his essence spirit. The Yin line was extremely thin, but as Yemo walked, it grew wider and wider, giving Yemo the feeling that it was wider than the bridge. Yemo didn't dare to keep walking like this. He felt that if he did, he would probably fall into the river soon. Luckily, where he stood had the weakest Yin Qi. His essence spirit could still feel the powerful calling of the river, but it couldn't make his essence spirit leave his body. Yemo forcefully used his spirit sense realm again, and then a long rusty wall suddenly appeared on the line. The wall stretched very long, as though to the ends of heaven. Was this walking along the wall? Yemo walked along the wall without hesitation. The instant Yemo's feet fell along the wall, the Yin line disappeared. 2 hours later, Yemo had to stop as the wall disappeared again. There was endless Yin Qi howling around him. His essence spirit and soul was rattling again for the third time, as though about to jump off into the river. Yemo forced himself to calm down. He knew that one could only keep walking forward on the bridge. Where he walked would disappear. If he walked back, he would just fall into the river. He knew that he couldn't stand still for long, or he wouldn't be able to resist that calling. "You're quite amazing to be able to get over here. You probably walked over using the Yin line. There's no more road, stay here with the Emperor." An extremely ancient voice sounded by Yemo's ear. Yemo was shocked and found that where the wall disappeared, a skeleton appeared. It was extremely thin and sat at the corner of the wall. Yemo didn't need to ask to know that it was another Divine Emperor that had crossed the bridge. He couldn't go on anymore and had to sit down as he watched himself become skeleton. But Yemo still admired this person. His body was gone, but his essence spirit was still here. "I did indeed." Yemo just said a few words and suddenly stopped. He found he couldn't make a sound. "Hee, you're a mere Tao-molding Divine Emperor, and you dare to talk on the life-crippling bridge? If you didn't walk along the wall, you would have jumped off already. Little kid, you won't be able to stop here for long. Before you die, find a place to sit and chat with me for a bit. I haven't spoken to anyone in tens of thousands of years." The skeleton laughed. Suddenly, a bleak lethal force attacked him. Yemo instantly realized that this skeleton was ambushing him as they were talking. At this moment, Yemo couldn't care about not leaving the wall. He quickly left and went around the skeleton. He couldn't think about why the skeleton attacked him. The instant he left the wall, he could no longer feel that lethal force. Endless Yin Qi blew over and Yemo's soul loosened up. Yemo burned his essence blood and God essence. After that, the body refinement barrier formed again, and he used his spirit sense realm again. When he used this and saw what was before him, he immediately sweated cold. He was standing at the edge of the bridge. If he took one more step, he would fall off into the river. Yemo quickly went back. Feeling the intense Yin Qi scraping his body and the soul-eroding calls of the river, Yemo knew that his barrier and spirit sense realm would only last 10 seconds. If he didn't charge out of the bridge before his spirit sense realm broke, he would definitely jump off. Yemo dashed forward like crazy. As he sped up, his barrier made cracking sounds. Crack. When Yemo heard this, he fell into despair. Even when he burned his life, he couldn't make it very far. Suddenly, a dark blue appeared before Yemo's eyes. Yemo rejoiced. Was he on the other side? Swoosh. More Yin Qi blew over, and Yemo saw that dark blue color was so close, but it was something he could never reach. Yemo looked at the lotus in his hand and threw it over. Whether she lived or died was her fate. He couldn't care. Yemo didn't even care that he didn't get the gourd. His life was gone. The Inchi grew heavier. Yemo didn't dare to move. If he moved, his essence spirit would be taken by the Inchi. Yemo wanted to burn his life, but his essence spirit was floating on the surface on his body. He couldn't even touch the golden page world, much less go in. Just when Yemo was about to accept fate, a small crack appeared before him. Yemo didn't care anymore. He used all his power to charge into that crack. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2065 Fall in the Jiao Shadow Ranges. 2065 Fall in the Jiao Shadow Ranges. The instant Yemo entered that crack, he wanted to go into the golden page world, but there was this terrifying spinning power from the crevice that almost tore him to pieces. If he wasn't in Mortal God Body peak stage, he would be in pieces now. The serious side effects of burning EB and essence chi began to show. As soon as he used spirit sense, he felt this wave of dizziness. That spinning power grew, but there was nothing he could do. In a short while, he lost consciousness. Only his body refinement cultivation method was running automatically and barely protected his body. Luckily, there was just rotational power here, no space disposition and things. Jiao Shadow Range wasn't very famous in Xinqiang continent, but rarely did people not know. This was because the Inchi here was very heavy and was said to be connected to the underworld. It's said that everyone who died on this continent would go into the underworld from here to be reincarnated. Souls would come here for a while before entering the underworld. Usually, cultivators who died not long ago would stay here for a while. Living people can come here and communicate with the dead. This communication was limited and it required powerful beings' soul-calling rune to work. Not only so, one must go past the Grey Forest in here. The Grey Forest was also a very cold and scary place on the continent. There were large amounts of ghost cultivators and Een souls. Een souls couldn't enter samsara and thus roam in the Grey Forests. As for ghost cultivators, they're people who don't want to go through reincarnation. The Inchi was too heavy and the gravity was extremely heavy too in the Grey Forest, so ordinary cultivators couldn't fly at all. Thus, it was very hard to cross the forest and come to the Jiao Shadow Ranges. On this continent, everyone knew the ranges was the place to communicate to the dead, but rarely did people talk about it. At this moment, there was a white-robed woman with a 10-year-old boy in the forest. They were rushing forward worriedly. There was a huge light barrier that protected them, and there were unknown things smashing against the barrier. These shadows were very thin. The woman could see with her spirit sense, but the little boy knew nothing. The barrier was getting thinner and thinner. "Sister Chiongying, can we really see my brother once we cross this forest?" the little boy asked. The white-robed woman nodded. "Yes, we just need to cross this forest, and we can talk to your brother." The boy nodded and sped up. "Hey, you must not fight with Pingxian and them next time," the woman added. The boy said. "Pingxian dared to say that sister slept with Xin High City's Master Meng just to get him to help. I was angry, so I beat him up." The woman's figure paused and her pale face grew paler, but she sped up. The boy seemed to know that sister was unhappy and didn't speak anymore. 15 minutes later, their barrier finally couldn't hold on and cracked. Luckily, they were out of the Grey Forest now, but those shadows didn't dare to dash out of the forest. The bleak chi shivered the woman, but she released the shield. "Sister Chiongying, is this the Jiao Shadow Ranges?" The little boy looked at this spooky place and asked in terror. The woman looked around this bleak environment shrouded in mist, and then said to the boy, "Hey, let's call here." The boy didn't understand these things and could only nod. The woman took out a rune and looked at it for a long while before releasing it. A bleak mist she spewed out from the rune, and then the mist she dissipated. The woman stood there in a daze for a long time. She didn't expect that she worked so hard, used all her savings, and was almost taken advantage of by that bastard, and only got a fake soul-calling rune in the end. "Sister Chiongying, what happened?" the boy asked worriedly. The white-robed woman sighed. She looked back at the gray forest. She knew that it was extremely hard for them to leave. At this moment, a whirlpool suddenly appeared in the void. The entire range was moved by this whirlpool. The bleak kais even made a whimpering sound. Thud. There was this extremely loud sound in this distance. The white-robed woman saw that the whirlpool disappeared again. Sister Cheongying, what is that? The boy asked worriedly. The woman checked with her spirit sense and said shakily, It seems to be a person, but that person fell into a small swamp. Only his head is outside. Sister Cheongying, didn't you say only souls can go into the Jiao Shadow Ranges? How can there be a person there? The boy felt her nervousness and clutched her robes tightly. I don't know, don't move, stay here. The white-robed woman said quietly, as though fearing she would be heard by others. Then, she pulled the boy to a corner and put the shield up in front of them. She took out a low-grade spirit artifact with her other hand and stared nervously at the swamp. When Yemo opened his eyes, he felt the bleak chi around him and immediately thought he was in the life-crippling river. However, he soon realized he wasn't. Although his essence chi was greatly depleted and his sea of consciousness was seriously injured and had less than 1/millionth of his power, these yin chi couldn't harm him at all. If it was the life-crippling river, how could it be this safe? Yemo struggled up from the swamp and wanted to go into the Golden Page world immediately, but then his sea of consciousness ached. Yemo knew this was due to him using Spirit Sense Realm again, and then going into the crevice. At least he was alive. His body refinement cultivation method ran automatically when he went into the crevice and blocked the damage of the whirlpool. However, he stayed in there for too long, causing his body, sea of consciousness, and essence chi to be greatly injured. Yemo sat down and rested for 15 minutes. The Kaith's tree constantly nourished him and his spirit sense recovered a little bit. With that, he immediately went into the Golden Page world. He cleansed himself and changed into new clothes before feeling something wrong. When he crawled up, there was no immortal spirit chi. It was the most basic spirit chi and it was extremely arid. There was more yin chi. Yemo came out of the Golden Page world before even talking to small Ginseng and Shadowless. He suspected that he came back to Luoyu continent. Otherwise, how could there only be spirit chi? Coming out of the Golden Page world, Yemo almost fell on the ground. Yemo knew that it was because he was too heavily injured, even though he ate many pills and the Chaos Tree kept nourishing his meridians and essence chi, he needed to go into solitary cultivation. Yemo's spirit sense recovered a bit, and could at least see the surrounding few hundred kms. He scanned his spirit sense out, and saw a white-robed woman with a little boy hiding and looking nervously at him. Yemo frowned. He just went into the Golden Page world and came out. He didn't know if she saw this. But soon, he saw that the woman was only Golden Core State primary stage, and her chi was unstable. Clearly, she just reached Golden Core State. Was this really Luoyu continent? Yemo rejoiced. If it was, he could go back to MOU City really quickly. Yemo sped up going out. Even though he was heavily injured, he was a Tao Vindication Divine Emperor. A truth realization state peak stage was still an insect to him. He had no concerns in the cultivation realm. Seeing the man in the mud actually walk out, the white-robed woman and boy was even more nervous. When she saw that Yemo was a human with chi, she relaxed a little and pulled the little boy and stood up. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2066 Familiar People at Xinqiang. Chapter 2066 Familiar People at Xinqiang. How Qionging greet Qianbei. The white-robed woman bowed to Yemo. She then stood waiting for Yemo to answer nervously. Although Yemo looked all too ordinary and didn't have any fierce chi on him, Hao Qionging was still very nervous. This person suddenly appeared in here and fell into the swamp, but he could still walk out casually. She was Golden Core State, and could only walk at the very border of the ranges. She didn't dare to go in at all. Yemo glanced at this woman. Her hair was casually braided. She didn't dress herself up intentionally. Her face was pale and had some nervousness. She looked not bad but was a far cry compared to Ji Shi and Jun Bingyu. May I ask where is this place? Why is there so much Inchi here? Yemo asked. Hearing this, Hao Qiangying finally breathed easy. Yemo's tone was rather polite. Huh? Hao Qiangying then realized that Yemo's words were a bit strange. Who didn't know this place was the Zhao Shadow Ranges? She then realized again that she shouldn't daze. She bowed and answered. This is Zhao Shadow Ranges. Zhao Shadow Ranges? Is this Luoyu continent? Yemo frowned and had a bad feeling. He had never heard of this place on Luoyu continent. Hao Qiangying wasn't dumb. With this, she immediately realized that Yemo wasn't from Xinqiang continent. Thinking about how Yemo fell from the sky, how could she not know that this Qianbei probably came from Luoyu continent? She suppressed her horror and said with even more respectful tone, Qianbei, this is Xinqiang cultivation realm, not Luoyu continent. Wan Bei had heard of Luoyu continents. It's said that it's a similar place not far from Xinqiang continent. Yemo could see her nervousness and smiled. Don't be nervous, I used a space-breaking rune and accidentally came here. Yemo didn't want to scare her. If she knew who he really was, she might not even be able to talk. Hearing this, Hao Qiangying breathed easier. If one used the space-breaking rune, even an Yeshuangshuang cultivator could cross realms, but those people who had such runes weren't simple, so Yemo was still mysterious to her. Why is this forest so bleak? There's no one in 1,000 km radius. What is going on? Yemo's spirit sense recovered quickly. It was only 300 kilometers before, but now was beyond 1,000 kilometers. This was him not focusing on recovering too. The chaos tree was indeed absurd. Hao Qiangying didn't dare to hide it, and quickly said, Qianbei, this range is the place to seek souls. It's said that it's connected to the underworld. Hearing this, Yemo frowned. He felt he landed at a strange place. The life-crippling river and bridge were filled with Inchi and the place of lost souls. It's said that those who fall down would lose their souls and disappear from the universe forever. The swamp here had very dense Inchi and was the fabled entrance to the underworld. But Yemo doubted if this place was related to the divine Dao realm's life-crippling river. Yemo had heard of the underworld and knew that it was a very ethereal realm. It's unheard of that someone could enter it. Even if cultivators reincarnated, they could rarely remember anything about the underworld. Yemo's cultivation level had dropped quickly, but his power was at least a great unity immortal. He scanned this place with his spirit sense. There's some souls here, but they're all very dazed. I don't see an entrance to the underworld. Is there something wrong with this legend? Even if this fable is right, I'm certain your husband's soul isn't here. Yes, Qianbei, Wan Bei knows now. Hao Qiangying said quietly. Regardless if her husband's soul was here or not, she wouldn't be able to summon it. Yemo nodded. In that case, take me out. Yemo knew someone here. Mengjin was from Xinqiang continent, and his disciple Meng Tsang came from here too. Meng Qi was also at Xinqiang continent. Meng Jun and Meng Tsang had ascended and were at MOU Immortal Sect now, but Meng Qi hadn't ascended. He could go find her. When he recovered his power, he could cover the continent instantly. Then Yemo seemed to realize his words weren't too polite, so he added, When you go out, I will give you something. You won't do it for free. Hao Qiangying quickly said, Qianbei, Wan Bei should take Qianbei out. I don't dare to take Qianbei's things. But there's many souls in the forest and some ghost cultivators. If. Yemo smiled. It's fine, just lead the way, they won't dare to come. Yes. Hao Qiangying couldn't have gone out alone, and now that Yemo told her not to worry, she was willing to take him out even more. Qianbei, my sister was tricked. Can you help her and teach that person a lesson? The boy suddenly said. Hey, don't say that. Hao Qiangying quickly stopped. She was afraid that if her brother-in-law offended Yemo, it would be over. Yemo took out a storage ring and gave it to the boy. You need to get revenge yourself. You're already chi gathering middle stage. I'll give you a storage ring. There's cultivation method in here and some resources. When you're strong, get revenge yourself. Thank you, Qianbei. Hao Qiangying said. The three walked into the gray forest, and Hao Qiangying became nervous. She sped up as she didn't want to stay here one extra minute. 5 minutes later, she was confused. When she passed the forest, many shadows dashed on her barrier. Now, there was no barrier, but they didn't see any in souls nor ghost cultivators. Yemo was Divine Emperor, and even though his power decreased a lot, his Divine Emperor domain was still there. Was such domain expanding out, what dared to get close? Even if they did, they would turn to dust. With Hao Qiangying's power, she wouldn't even be able to sense Yemo's domain. Yemo wasn't too unlucky, and neither was Jishi. When her lotus was thrown to the other end, her spirit sense scanned out immediately. She saw a blue color, and immediately rejoiced. She knew that this meant she was at the life-crippling forbidden grounds. Before she could think, another crevice appeared before the lotus, and before she could react, the lotus fell into that crack. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2067 Behind the Divine Sect. Chapter 2067 Behind the Divine Sect. Without the lotus stand, she would have turned to nothing in the spinning space. However, the lotus stand was a top-level magic artifact, and despite spinning in the void, it didn't slow down at all nor get damaged. The Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect's prison door mountain was at the border of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. The god spirit Qi was arid there, and it was filled with chaotic and messy Qi. It wasn't good for cultivation nor for living. There was an extremely short hill with a dark passage that led to the depth of this mountain. This short hill was where the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect locked up sect members who were convicted. 1 foot soul would constantly be burned by Yin fire. Due to arid god spirit Qi, there was no way to defend against the Yin fire. The only way was to just endure it. The people locked up here could only watch as their soul weakened and sea of consciousness withered. Even when the divine Tao realm was complete, the prison door mountain was the crudest place. Outside the mountain, Mu Xian's eyes were red. She knew that her master was locked up in there due to her by her martial uncle. Sorry, master, disciple brought this on you, Mu Xiaoyan said after visiting her master. Seeing the way her master was tortured, it was unbearable for her. Lan Qilan's weak voice sounded by Mu Xian's ears. Xiaoyun, don't feel guilty. I'm already happy that the sect leader can let you visit me. Plus, she's giving me a light sentence. I'm only locked up for 100 years. I can listen to my own Tao voice here. Xiaoyun, I really want you to see your husband again, but as long as I'm here, you must not leave the sect alone. Otherwise, you would never have hope. Although you're the most cruelly treated saint, you're still the saint. Bu's status in the sect is low, help me look after her. Mu Xiaoyan sniffed. Yes, disciple will remember this. She didn't realize what her master was implying. It was that if she died, then Xiaoyun should quickly leave. Lan Qilan didn't say it that way as she was scared that her every word would be heard. She was also scared that no matter how far Xiaoyun went, she wouldn't be able to escape from the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. She believed that as long as she was alive, the sect leader wouldn't do anything to Xiaoyun, but if she died, Xian's fate would be tragic. Go first. The Qi here is too messy, Lan Qilan said weakly again. Before Mu Xiaoyan could reply, an extremely rapid light tore open the space from the distant mountain and into the valley of the prison door mountain. The rays were shocking and had Tao waves. Mu Xiaoyan was now great extreme immortal. She knew this was definitely a top treasure. Mu Xiaoyan's only obsession was to see her husband Yemo, and didn't really care about other things. Even though she knew that a top-level magic artifact fell, she didn't charge up immediately. Instead, she closely got near where the magic artifact landed with her flying sword. At the same time, in the sect leader palace of Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, a few women sat on the side with one purple-robed woman sitting in the middle. She was the sect leader, Jisini. Yunhui, tell me about what you think. Xiaoyun is only great extreme immortal middle stage now. Even if she is to reach immortal king, she would need 100 years. The great sun god mountain is too desperate. Our immortal goddess sacred sect already agreed to their request, what else do they want? Is our saint that worthless? The purple-robed woman sneered. Yunhui said respectfully. Sect leader, during these years our immortal goddess sacred sect has fallen quickly, but the great sun god mountain has risen quickly. If the Suyu divine Tao still existed, they could take on great sun god mountain, but Suyu divine Tao is more declined than us. Their sect is in rubbles. No wonder the great sun god mountain is so cocky. The primordial essence war didn't involve the Suyu divine Tao. No one dares to fight there. Their annihilation is probably related to the great sun god mountain, right? One Tao actualization divine emperor said. Yunhui said, Martial sister Nanchuang is right. It's said that the Suyu divine Tao had a disciple called Duanmuyurong. His talent was unparalleled. He reached the highest primordial essence great Tao in a mere tens of thousands of years and then left the Suyu divine Tao and opened a realm to connect to the underworld. The greatest suspect for annihilating Suyu divine Tao was the great sun god mountain. After they did that, they didn't do anything else. The reason they waited till now was because they were scared Duanmuyurong would come back. But after countless years, Duanmuyurong never came back. Something probably happened to him as he opened the tunnel to the underworld. That's why the great sun god mountain has no fear and is now attacking us immortal goddess sacred sect. Nanchuan got up and said, Sect leader, regardless, our immortal goddess sacred sect is the number one sect of the divine Tao realm now. Even if our power isn't as great as the great sun god mountain who hides in the dark, isn't it too insulting for us to give our saint to the great sun god mountain? No matter how strong they are, it doesn't mean the immortal goddess sacred sect is scared of them. The Suyu divine Tao wasn't scared of them, and robbed the word Tan from their sect name. We don't need to be scared of them too. Nanshuang's words were very impolite. The sect leader frowned but didn't say anything. Yunhui sneered, Martial sister Nanshuang. You know that Mu Xiaoyan is just a temporary substitute saint, right? The reason we chose her was for her to stay at the immortal goddess peak for 100 years and sacrifice for our sect. And it's too rude for you to be talking to the sect leader like this. Then she added, Plus, our immortal goddess sacred sect is the number one sect of the divine Tao realm, but do you think we're the strongest? We're the number one sect because Saint Qing sacrificed herself for the divine Tao realm. Our power isn't that strong. Martial sister Nanshuang, do you know how many Tao essence divine emperors the great sun god mountain has? Without enough power, do you think they can annihilate Suyu divine Tao? Nanshuang said coldly. Yunhui, how can I not know what you're thinking? Regardless if you have conflict with Martial Sister Qilan, since we chose Xiaoyun to be saint, we should treat her as the real saint, not someone to trade with the great sun god mountain. The great sun god mountain might be a lot stronger than us, but I, Wang Nanshuang, would rather fight to the death than succumb to them. A blue-robed Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor got up and said, Martial Sister Yunhui and Martial Sister Nanshuang are both doing this for the sect. Let's just sit down and listen to the opinion of the sect leader. Nanshuang sighed and sat down. How could she not know what the sect leader wanted? Jishi's soul lamp wasn't gone, but the sect leader took the flame from the lamp and forcefully lit up the lamp with half of Mu Xian's soul. Clearly, she wanted to use Mu Xiaoyun as a substitute offering to the great sun god mountain. However, her power was too low. Even with her Tao actualization divine emperor power, it was nothing in the immortal goddess sacred sect. She believed that Martial Sister Qilan guessed this and tried to prevent Xiaoyun from becoming saint. However, the sect leader was determined to protect Jishi. She would rather sacrifice a Mu Xiaoyun who has lost her virginity. The great sun god mountain requires our saint, but it's not like they're not giving any compensation. They don't dare to have too much conflict with us yet. Yunhui, go tell them to wait till our saint becomes a status immortal, the sect leader said. Then, she looked at Wang Nanshuang and said, Nanshuang, I'm not giving the saint to the great sun god mountain. We'll drag it on for as much as we can. Perhaps things would change after 100 years. Otherwise, if the immortal goddess sacred sect is annihilated due to me, I would be the greatest sinner of the immortal goddess sacred sect. Yes, sect leader. Yunhui quickly answered. Wang Nanchuan could only sigh helplessly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2068 Encounter with the Sane. Chapter 2068 Encounter with the Sane. Mu Xiaoyun hadn't even walked there yet and saw another explosion. Beams of rainbow light shot out, and a figure appeared in the light. Mu Xiaoyun stopped. She saw that it was an extremely beautiful woman. The immortal goddess sacred sect lacked beautiful women the least, but this woman was prettier than all the women she had seen at immortal goddess sacred sect. Who are you? Why did you appear at the immortal goddess sacred sect? Mu Xiaoyun subconsciously asked. She just came out of the lotus stand and was looking around. She didn't even care about Mu Xiaoyun. No down nourishment divine emperor would worry about a great extreme immortal. I'm back at the divine sect? She murmured in disbelief. She had always lived at the immortal goddess sacred sect. The land was big, but she knew every part of it. This was the back of the prison door mountain, the most distant part of the immortal goddess sacred sect. She was very shocked to have appeared here after her lotus stand went into that void fissure. She was a bit dazed, but Mu Xiaoyun said nothing. She didn't feel any sense of belonging to the immortal goddess sacred sect. It really is the immortal goddess sacred sect, and the back of the prison door mountain. She breathed. She felt she was too lucky. There were countless realm fissures at the life-crippling forbidden grounds, but they led to different realms. Yet she could come back to the immortal goddess sacred sect. When she left the immortal goddess sacred sect, she was only an immortal emperor, and now that she came back, she was down nourishment divine emperor. Suddenly, she thought of Yemo. When Yemo threw her lotus stand out, she was very grateful. If he didn't throw it, her lotus stand would fall into the life-crippling river too. Despite Yemo did this for the gourd, Yemo fulfilled his promise, but she didn't give the gourd to him. She sighed. Although Yemo fell down the river and it had nothing to do with her, Yemo didn't have to throw her back up. She would find Yemo's descendants and give the gourd to them. If Yemo didn't have descendants, then once she reached Tao Essence Divine Emperor, she would go there again and throw the gourd down the river. Casting these thoughts aside, she suddenly asked, "Did you just join the immortal goddess sacred sect? I remember you weren't here before I left." Mu Xiaoyun saw she was frowning and didn't disturb her. Now that she asked, she quickly said, "So Qian Bei is from immortal goddess sacred sect too? Wan Bei just joined the sect for 100 years. Wait, why do you have the Qi of the saint? Do you live at immortal goddess peak?" She asked. Mu Xiaoyun knew that living at the immortal goddess peak would give her this saint Qi. This immortal goddess peak was surrounded by the best marrow-cleansing god range. Even if you didn't cultivate, you would have more temperament and better cultivation talent staying there. Mu Xiaoyun could see that she was even more powerful than her master. She quickly answered, "Wan Bei Mu Xiaoyun is now the saint of the immortal goddess sacred sect." "You're the new saint? So it's you." She looked at Mu Xiaoyun dazedly. She could feel that Mu Xiaoyun was no longer a virgin. How could the sect let someone like her be the saint? This saint wasn't even status immortal yet. This was absurd. She frowned and suddenly waved up a few restrictions and said to Mu Xiaoyun, "Xiaoyun, tell me how you became the saint and what the sect leader did." Mu Xiaoyun wasn't dumb. She was this powerful and pretty. With how she kept talking about the saint, she guessed some things. After she set up the restriction, she checked she with her spirit sense boldly and found that she indeed had similar qi to him. Mu Xiaoyun instantly realized that the flame the sect leader took from the soul lamp didn't go out. This woman was probably the previous saint. She knew this, but she didn't stop it. She wanted to tell Mu Xiaoyun she was the last saint. "Mu Xiaoyun, greet Sister Saint." Mu Xiaoyun quickly bowed. She nodded. Tell me everything you know, I won't blame you. Yes. Mu Xiaoyan said. After hearing Mu Xiaoyan's story, Shi frowned. Xiaoyan, you're saying that the sect leader took out my lamp when it was still lit and forcefully lit up yours. Mu Xiaoyan fell silent. That's what she said before. What are you doing at the prison door mountain? Shi asked. The sect leader used half my soul to light up the land. My master tried to argue for me. Later, she was judged to be locked in there for 100 years. I came to see my master. If it wasn't for Marshal Uncle Yunhui, I wouldn't be saint and master wouldn't be in there. Mu Xiaoyan said slowly. Shi frowned even more and fell into a long silence. Why was half your soul used? Did it only take a sliver of spirit will to light it up? Mu Xiaoyan didn't answer, and Shi didn't need her to answer. She sighed and said, Marital Uncle Qilan is in here, I'm going to see her. She glanced at Mu Xiaoyan and said, Xiaoyan, did you mean that you want me to become a saint again? You know if I tell this to Marshal Uncle Yunhui you would be dead for sure. Mu Xiaoyan wasn't worried at all. I never wanted to be saint. If I didn't have to see my husband, so what if I died? Hearing this, Shi looked at Mu Xiaoyan with greater light. Where is your husband? Shi didn't understand Mu Xiaoyan's feelings but still asked. He's in immortal realm. I don't know if he reached golden core state or not. If not, I'm afraid. Mu Xiaoyan thought that even if she gave the saint position to Shi, Yemo might not be alive. She could no longer control her sorrow. She was scared that she wouldn't be able to see Yemo again. Seeing this, Shi shook her head speechlessly and sighed. Sigh, you've helped me be saint for this long. I'll go to Master's place and take back half your soul. Thanks for your help. I can check for you if your husband is alive. As long as your husband didn't reach Nie Shuangshuang, I can check it. Take out something of your husband's. I need a sliver of his qi, huh? You can check that. Mu Xiaoyan was completely dazed. Why didn't her master tell her this? Then Mu Xiaoyan realized she was too rude and said shakily, Sister Saint, please check where my husband Yemo is. This is a magic artifact he gave me. Mu Xiaoyan's voice and heart was shaky when she took it out. If her husband was really no longer in the world, she didn't want to stay here at all. She really didn't understand why Mu Xiaoyan was so devoted to this man. The reason she could check if the man was alive or not wasn't due to her own capabilities but that she had the 9 lotus stand. She could use it to check the life or death of cultivators who haven't formed nascent soul yet. What did you say your husband was called? She suddenly reacted. This was too much of a coincidence. She seemed to have said her husband was called Yemo. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2069 The universe is very small. Chapter 2069 The universe is very small. You're out of the gray forest like this. Hao Qionying stared at the forest behind her in shock. Yemo felt the slightly denser spirit qi and didn't feel as bad as before. After feeling the world laws around him, he opened his eyes and nodded. Immortals coming to the cultivation realm would be suppressed and even forcefully ascended. But the cultivation realm's world laws were very clear in his will. He didn't feel any suppression in terms of power. In here, he could casually write the top cultivation method suitable to the surrounding laws. This had nothing to do with wisdom. It was just power. Although his spirit sense was only 1,000 kilometers, the same as a nascent soul cultivator, his power could easily kill Great Unity Immortal. After he learned the cultivation realm world laws, Yemo was more certain that even if his cultivation level completely recovered to downmolding Divine Emperor, he wouldn't be limited by the world laws here, as his knowledge of world laws had already surpassed this realm, and even the immortal realm. For a down-molding Divine Emperor or down-nourishment Divine Emperor, even if the cultivation realm could be forged into a small world or true spirit world, they wouldn't want it as the cultivation realm was too low caliber. Only the immortal realm would be attractive to Divine Emperors below Tao essence. Seeing Yi Missouri close his eyes, Hao Qiunying didn't dare to talk. After realizing the laws here were useless to him, he nodded to Hao Qiunying. Take me to your cultivation city. Then Yi Mo casually waved out an extreme-grade flying spirit artifact. He had way too much immortal artifacts. Extreme-grade spirit artifacts were like trash to him, but Yi Mo didn't want to kill people. If he took out too many good things here, people would come to rob it. Then he would kill. Even though he was a Tao-molding divine emperor, his heart didn't change. He could kill all those who tried to rob him, but after he was gone, Hao Qiunying and her brother would suffer. Goddess Qiunying, I want to ask about a few people. Yi Mo said when they were all on the flying spirit artifact. Qianbei, just call me Qiunying. Hao Qiunying quickly said. Okay. Yi Mo nodded. Have you heard of Mu Xiaoyun? Mu Xiaoyun definitely ascended to the immortal realm, or she wouldn't be at Wujia Sound River. Since he didn't see her at Luoyu continent, she probably ascended from another continent. Unexpectedly, Hao Qiunying immediately said, I've heard of Goddess Mu. She was one of the top 3 prodigies in 1,000 years. She was the pride of Lotus Glory sect. Due to Goddess Mu, Lotus Glory sect is one of the best 9-star sections. Mu Xiaoyun really came to Xinqiang continent. Yi Mo rejoiced. He had decided to go visit Mu Xian's cultivation grounds. Yes, but Goddess Mu had already ascended. She was ranked 2nd for the top 3 prodigies of the continent. Hao Qiunying was full of respect. Yi Mo calmed down his excitement and asked in confusion. Xiaoyun's cultivation speed is that fast. How is she only ranked 2nd? Who is the first? Hao Qiunying immediately knew that Yi Mo was close to Mu Xiaoyun, or he wouldn't call her Xiaoyun. Hao Qiunying quickly answered. The first is an solo cultivator called Dongfang Wang. He's very mysterious, but his talent is absurd. He didn't join any sect and ascended to the immortal realm in a short time. What? Yi Mo almost got up. He never was able to find Dongfang Wang. He didn't expect this bastard ran to Xinqiang continent. Not only so, he also ascended to the immortal realm. When he returned to the immortal realm, he would kill this Dongfang Wang immediately. Yi Mo knew how powerful Dongfang Wang was. The 3 brothers were the best tacticians. Dongfang Wang was the best among the 3. Now, even his cultivation speed was this fast. He would be a greater threat in the future. He would have to annihilate him before he grew strong. Seeing Yi Mo's face sink when he heard Dongfang Wang, Hao Qiunying didn't dare to keep talking. Seeing Hao Qiunying was a bit scared, Yi Mo waved his hand. Don't be scared, don't call me Qianbei. I'm Yi Mo. Yes, Martial Brother Yi. Hao Qiunying said respectfully. Who is the 3rd prodigy? Yi Mo asked. Hao Qiunying answered. A prodigy from Lingxiao's sect Mengtsang. All 3 Qianbais had ascended to the immortal realm. Yi Mo was speechless. He actually knew all 3. When Yi Mo asked about Mengzhen or Mengqi, Hao Qiunying didn't know. After asking for the whereabouts of Lotus Glory sect, Yi Mo stopped asking. He had decided to recover his injuries first at the Xian High City and then go to the sect and ask about Xiaoyun. Yi Mo knew that the reason Xiaoyun was a prodigy was 1 due to her pure wood spirit root and 2nd due to the primordial chaos chant he left her. When he first got it, Yi Mo didn't care about the cultivation method. He thought Meng Qian was bluffing, but now that he vindicated Dao, he knew that Meng Zhan didn't bluff at all. Every sentence of the primordial chaos chant was very deep and contained all sorts of cultivation laws. No wonder it had no element. Different people would have different results cultivating this. Yi Mo was very grateful to Lotus Glory sect. He hadn't been there, but he could feel how well they protected Mu Xiaoyun. Otherwise, with her cultivation method, she would have been devoured to the bones. Not only did they not greed after her cultivation method, they were also protecting her. Yi Mo only used an extreme-grade flying spirit artifact, but in his hands, it was no weaker than an immortal artifact. In half a day, a medium-sized cultivation city appeared in his eyes. Qianbei, this is Xian High City. My husband is from Baiyan sect. Not long ago, he died in the Xinqiang sect tournament. We moved out from the sect and now live in the city. Hao Qionying suppressed her shock and said. After chatting with Yemo for this long, she could feel Yemo was an amicable person, so she gradually let loose and wasn't that scared of Yemo. But when Yemo flew this spirit artifact and came to Xian High City in half a day, she was too shocked. Even extreme-grade spirit artifact would take a few days to come here from the Great Forest. Hearing this, Yemo suddenly thought of something and asked, Qionying, have you heard of a woman called Shi Wanqing? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2070 Lift of a Hand. Chapter 2070 Lift of a Hand. Hao Qionying shook her head. Martial Brother Yi, I haven't heard of her. Do you know which sect she is from? I don't know. Yemo felt sad. He didn't find Shi Wanqing on Luoyu continent, and hoped she would be here. Don't worry, Martial Brother Yi, the continent is having sect tournament. This tournament would go for half a month. Almost all the sects would participate. If Shi Wanqing is in a sect, Martial Brother Yi can find out about her. Hao Qionying quickly said. Yemo thought, when his power recovered, his spirit sense can easily cover the entire continent. How could he be scared he wouldn't find Shi Wanqing then? You said your husband died in this tournament? Yemo asked. Yes. Hao Qionying said. Yemo thought for a moment. Let's go find a place to rest at the Xian High City and then take me to the sect tournament. Yemo needed some time to recover. He didn't know how long he had been rolling around for in the void. He looked okay on the surface, but without the help of the chaos tree, he wouldn't even be able to get up. Half a day later, Yemo's spirit sense had recovered to 10,000 kilometers. He got up and decided to go to the sect tournament now. Just when Yemo wanted to call Hao Qionying, he saw a dark-faced nascent soul cultivator standing at her door. There was a slap print on Hao Qionying's face. The little boy stared angrily at the cultivator. What happened? Yemo walked to Hao Qionying's door. Martial Brother Yi. Hao Qionying called. Yu Hui glared at the cultivator and said, This Meng guy tricked my sister and sold a fake rune to her. Now he's beating her. Yemo's face sunk and asked the cultivator, Is that so? Before the cultivator could talk, Hao Qionying said, Martial Brother Yi, let's go in and talk, it has nothing to do with him. The cultivator sneered at Yemo. You need to be capable to sleep a widow. I've already decided she's mine, piss off. Really? A mere nascent soul dared to be cocky in front of him. He didn't even bother to ask about this and just threw out a fireball. Haha! The cultivator saw this and laughed. He didn't expect there would be someone to throw fireballs. This fireball wouldn't even create a speck of dust on him. Even if he didn't attack, Yemo would be dead too. Those who dared to fight in the Xian High City Spirit Rest Tower would be dead for sure. The city strictly forbids magic artifact. If violated, death. Hao Qionying saw Yemo dare to use fireball. Her face went pale. As long as Yemo used magic art, then no matter how much right they had, they would be killed. Plus, a fireball wouldn't hurt at all. The cultivator only laughed twice and couldn't laugh anymore. He found he couldn't move at all. He saw his body quickly disintegrate in the flame, and in the blink of an eye, everything including his nascent soul and storage ring disappeared. After the fireball was gone, Yemo waved his hand and the dust disappeared. It was as though nothing was there. Hao Qionying stared dazedly at this and couldn't speak for a long time. This was too shocking. What fireball could annihilate a nascent soul? She had never seen such terrifying fireball. I wasted some time, Qionying, take me to the sect tournament. Yemo patted Yuhi's head and said, Martial Brother Yi. Hao Qionying said hardly and then said, Meng Guangji is Xian High City Rune Master Association leader's disciple. The Rune Master Association is very powerful in the Xian High City, and Duan Gan Yuan is Truth Realization State Middle Stage Jianbei. We killed Meng Guangji, We probably can't leave the city. Yemo understood how she felt and dazed into reminiscence. When he was fighting his way up in the Luoyu cultivation realm, it was like this too. He killed the Tian Aofing and began to hide everywhere. To Hao Qiunying, she probably wouldn't even be able to leave after offending this association. But to him, even if he slammed the entire city to the grounds, no one would dare to say a thing. Yemo shook his head. If it was a strange character divine emperor, he might really palm the city flat. Power was everything in the cultivation realm and immortal realm, but when the power was strong to a certain degree with no restriction, it was terror. If the world laws are complete, the immortal realm and divine Tao realm are completed, would it be as easy to come back to the cultivation realm? Yemo murmured. If one day I have the capability, I will perfect the divine Tao realm and the immortal realm. I won't let people come back to low-level realms so easily, Yemo said slowly. He didn't want to see high-realm immortals come to the cultivation realm or mortal realm and slaughter everything. Seeing Yemo daze, Hao Qiunying was worried too. After a long while she said, Meng Guangji saw my husband die and wanted to use me as a sex slave. I said I wanted to go to Zhao's Shadow Range, so he sold me a soul-calling rune. Later I realized it was fake. He thought I wouldn't be able to cross the Grey Forest and would come back to him for help. However, I have a top-level defense rune and cross the Grey Forest. Yemo nodded. This person deserves to die, let's go. Hao Qiunying's face was pale. We probably can't leave, the people from the Rune Master Association wouldn't let us leave. Yemo indeed saw a few people coming. He just smiled but didn't talk. You can't leave indeed. You dared to kill Master Meng in Xian High City. If I don't slice you to mince, then you raised me up, a skinny man said. I don't raise dogs like you, Yemo said and threw another fireball. A mere cauldron-filling state dared to be cocky in front of him. Seeing this, Hao Qiunying dazed again. She forgot to tell Yemo that this person was one of the 3 masters of the city. A powerful cauldron-filling state just below the city lord and association leader. How could someone like this be dealt with a fireball, but Yemo threw it out already? Seeing Yemo used a fireball at him, the cauldron-filling state laughed like Meng Guangji. Ever since he became a golden core state, he had never seen anyone use fireball at him. Today was quite fresh. Someone dared to use a fireball against a cauldron-filling state peak stage cultivator. There was such a joke in the world. But his ending was the same as Meng Guangji. He only laughed twice and stopped. Then he stared at Yemo with disbelief, but he could no longer speak. His body turned to dust in this small fireball. The few body condensation state cultivators next to him looked dazedly as the dust flew away, not daring to say a word. I'm going to leave the city. Call the Rune Master Association leader here. If by the time I get to the city gates he still isn't here, then he won't need to come ever. Yemo glanced at them and said, Yes, Qianbei. These cultivators reacted and quickly left. Hao Qiunying's heart was skipping fast. Before it was due to terror of the Rune Master Association, but now because Yemo easily burned a cauldron-filling state with a fireball. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2071 I like bullying the weak. Chapter 2071 I like bullying the weak. No one dared to stop them from walking out of this spirit rest tower. Before they got to the city gates, 2 more dashing lights came to the city gates. One was Truth Realization State Level 5 and the other was Disaster Transformation State Level 8. Yemo guessed that the Truth Realization State Level 5 was the association leader Duan Ganyuan. As for the other person, it was probably the city lord. Xian High City Lord Gonghong greet Qianbei. Please forgive me for not welcoming Qianbei into the city. The chubby disaster transformation state cultivator saw Yemo come over and immediately bowed. The truth realization state middle stage studied Yemo calmly. Yemo felt strange. The city lord was a disaster transformation state, and the association leader was a truth realization state. This disaster transformation state should be following Duan Ganyuan. But this disaster transformation state greeted him first and left Duan Ganyuan behind him. Duan Ganyuan didn't seem to be angry at all. Dao friend, I'm the association leader of the Rune Master Association Duan Ganyuan. I heard a few useless disciples tell me that Dao friend had business with me. Duan was scared that when I made it over, Dao friend was out of the city. Luckily I came in time. Duan Ganyuan saluted with his fists, seemingly scared. However, his horror was fake. His chi was very calm and instead carried this sharp force on him as though he was ready to fight. Yemo didn't care about this attitude. He knew that this truth realization state and Rune Master didn't need to fear other people. Even if he was truth realization state tertiary stage, Duan Ganyuan didn't need to be fearful. You're right. If you came a little later you wouldn't need to come, Yemo said. Duan Ganyuan sneered. Dao friend came from the distant. Duan should be greeting you, but even if you're a truth realization state you can't just kill my disciple and a cauldron-filling state of the Rune Master Association. I'm weak but not anyone can abuse me. I won't allow outsiders to bully the weak. Gong Hong said nothing and just stood on the side. Yemo walked up to Duan Ganyuan and patted his shoulder. You're right. I like abusing the weak. Of course I won't kill you yet because I have something for you to do. 14,000 kilometers west of the city, there's a subtle cultivation home hidden with a level 7 stealth formation. There are a few female cultivators locked up in there by your disciple Meng Guangji. Release their restriction and let them go. If I'm happy with what you did, I'll give you a quick one when you come back. Remember, I'm heading to the sect tournaments. He told Duan Ganyuan to go because Meng Guangji was Duan Ganyuan's disciple. Even if the female cultivators had some special restrictions placed on them, Yemo believed Duan Ganyuan would be able to open it. Gong Hong dazed. Yemo patted Duan Ganyuan's shoulder, but Duan Ganyuan didn't move at all. At truth realization state, even ordinary friends wouldn't pat each other's shoulders like that, much less enemies. Duan Ganyuan was dazed too. He found that when Yemo's hand patted him, he couldn't move at all. Yemo patted his shoulder 3 times. The first pat patted his cultivation to cauldron-filling state. The second pat cracked his dantian open, the third pat cracked his meridians. Just as Yemo said, he wasn't killed because Yemo had something to do. Realizing his situation, Duan Ganyuan was so shocked he couldn't even speak. What cultivation level was this? Even truth realization state peak stage, cultivators who had passed immortal ascension divine damnation wouldn't be able to bind him this easily? Did you not hear what I said? Seeing Duan Ganyuan just stand there in shock and forget to reply, Yemo was annoyed. Wanbei heard it. Duan Ganyuan answered shakily. Yemo turned to Gong Hong. City Lord Gong, I don't have time to go. You go with Association Leader Duan. If he does anything that's not in line with my order, kill him. Gong Hong had recovered. He felt Duan Ganyuan's cultivation level drop straight down. He could only force down his horror and shock as he bowed. Yes, Wanbei will follow Qianbei's order. Yemo nodded. In that case, good. Qionying and He, let's go. The reason he sent Gong Hong over was to help those few female cultivators. If he went, he would only be able to save them, but Gong Hong was the city lord. He could provide them cultivation grounds and stable cultivation resources. Yemo believed with Gong Hong's disaster transformation state brain that he would know what he meant. When Yemo released flying magic artifact and left the city, Hao Qionying reacted and breathed easy. Clearly, Yemo was an insanely powerful being, otherwise Duan Ganyuan wouldn't act like that. If someone like Yemo wanted to attack her, there was nothing she could do. Plus, from her time with Yemo, Martial Brother, you didn't seem like ordinary cultivators. She looked at the storage ring Yemo gave her. There was top grade and extreme grade spirit stones. There weren't many pills, but there were many spirit artifact. She didn't dare to take it before, but now it seemed these things were worthless to this Yi Qianbei. Qionying, tell me about this sect tournament. Yemo put some extreme grade spirit stones on the flying spirit artifact and asked. Hao Qiangying had guessed now that Yemo probably wasn't from the cultivation realm. She thought for a moment as she organized her words and said, Martial Brother Yi, Xinqiang continent's sects are divided by stars. The highest is 9-star sect. The lowest is 1 star. 1-star sects rarely take in disciples. They're usually small cultivation families. Yemo nodded. This was like the system Luo Yu continent used. As for the 10-star pill city, that was because it had too many pill master and truth realization states. The biggest secret realm of Xinqiang realm, Xintru's spirit grounds, open every millennia. There are limited spots each time. In order to better distribute the spots, the big sects would have a sect tournament every time before the secret realm opened. Because the spots are so precious, almost every sect would come. The sects would send their sect members to compete and get spots based on their results. Yemo realized, no wonder it went on for a month or two. Just how many people would be coming to such tournament? The sect tournament was very far from Xian High City, but under Yemo's control the extreme grade flying spirit artifact had surpassed low grade immortal artifact. In less than half a day, Yemo saw the tournament scene with his spirit sense. How long till the tournament? Yemo looked at the densely cluttered cultivators. It spanned almost a few hundred kilometers. There were more merchant towers and marketplaces mixed within. In about 10 days. Hao Qiangying quickly said. She saw the tournament grounds too. Yemo took out a storage ring and gave it to Hao Qiangying. This is for you. Thanks for bringing me all this way. Thank you, Qianbei. Hao Qiangying quickly took the storage ring and thanked. Yemo liked Hao Qiangying's straightforward attitude. He thought about it and said, Mu Xiaoyun is my wife. I'm going to Lotus Glory sect to see. If you want, I can introduce you and your brother into the sect. Lotus Glory sect, that was the dream of every cultivator. How could Hao Qiangying not want to go? She dazed for a moment and wanted to thank Yemo. At the same time, she thought, no wonder. Only someone like Martial Brother Yi deserved Goddess Mu. Yemo saw her face and knew she really wanted to go. He waved his hand. No need to thank me. I _LLG to the main stage and ask about Wan Qing. Afterwards, we'll go to Lotus Glory sect. Wait for me here. Then Yemo dashed up and landed in the center stage amongst the millions of people. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2072 Find Qi Wan Qing. Chapter 2072 Find Qi Wan Qing. Xintru's spirit grounds was the biggest secret realm of Xinqiang continent. It had the most resources too. Sects big or small would come to this tournament regardless of how far they were. With all these sects here, of course there would be many truth realization states. There were even quite some truth realization state peak stages. As the main stage of the tournament, there were more than 20 truth realization states sitting here. No one would dare to come up without permission. As soon as Yemo landed on this stage, a few truth realization states surrounded him. This main stage was the place to announce the results. It was symbolic of the honor of all the sects on this continent. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 20 truth realization state cultivators sitting on the side of the stage to watch the tournament. Yemo, this unknown cultivator, dared to just charge up here, was asking to die. When these truth realization state came up, they said nothing and just chose to attack. No matter what Yemo's motive was, good or bad, charging up the main stage like this was a huge mistake. Yemo sneered and waved his hand. These few truth realization state were held by this invisible power and thrown back to their seats. To outsiders, it seemed like these truth realization states got up and then wanted to sit back down. I'm borrowing the main stage. If you dare to be rude again, I will kill you, Yemo said coldly. These few truth realization states shivered. Even those truth realization states who didn't get up shivered. What master was this? Since when did the cultivation realm have such powerful master? He easily waved his hand and threw back a few truth realization states like this. Immediately, Everyone realized that Emo wasn't simple. The 20 or so truth realization states glanced at each other and didn't dare to talk. They all saw shock and disbelief in each other's eyes. They all thought of the one thing. This cultivator wasn't from the cultivation realm, nor did he hide his power. They really couldn't see his cultivation level. This person probably wasn't from the cultivation realm but from the immortal realm. Almost everyone saw Emo on the stage. The main stage was so obvious and was usually used to announce important things and the tournament results. Now that Emo appeared, he immediately caught everyone's attention. Emo said loudly, "Dao friends from Xinqiang continent. I'm Emo. Today I came here to find a friend. She's called Shi Wanqing. Everyone have a look at this image." Emo's voice was heard even hundreds of km away. He waved out Shi Wanqing's image, and even drew Little Wolf on her shoulder. "Dao friends, if anyone knows where my friend is or can provide me with any clues, I can satisfy any wish you have in cultivation. I will be waiting at the main stage for 2 hours. Within this time, anyone who has news can come to me. Even if you want to join the best 9-star sect or truth carrot pill, I can satisfy you." At first the cultivators didn't know what Yemo's reward was, but when Yemo said that, the scene erupted. Truth carrot pill was pill for disaster transformation state to reach truth realization state. Yemo even had such pill, then wouldn't the rest of the pills be extremely easy? Immediately, everyone was asking about Qi Wanqing. Yemo then turned around and looked at the shocked 20 or so truth realization states. Seeing Yemo look at them, they quickly got up. Yemo stopped them from bowing. "Everyone sit down." After everyone sat down, Yemo asked, "Who here is from Lotus Glory sect?" A woman who seemed younger than 40 got up quickly and said, "Wanbei Guangjie is from Lotus Glory sect. Please order anything Qianbei." Guangjien felt nervous. Yemo's cultivation level was clearly above truth realization state level 9 peak. He was definitely an immortal. In the cultivation realm, although immortals rarely came to the cultivation realm, but there were some. There were immortals coming back in the legends, but when their power would be suppressed to be just one level above truth realization state. However, Yemo's power was clear many levels above truth realization state. Yemo nodded. "Sit down. I want to ask you, did Mu Xiaoyun ascend from Lotus Glory sect?" "Yes, Qianbei, Elder Mu is our Lotus Glory sect member." "Qianbei," Guangjie said worriedly. Mu Xiaoyun had already ascended, and this Qianbei was clearly an immortal. Did he come to find Mu Xiaoyun? Did something happen to her in the immortal realm? Did he come to get revenge from Lotus Glory sect? Mu Xiaoyun had always been very kind. Yemo was a bit lost, as though remembering the days he was with Mu Xiaoyun. After a while, he recovered. "Tell me about how Mu Xiaoyun joined the sect and what she did at the sect." Guangjie agreed and recounted the process of Mu Xiaoyun joining the sect in detail. When Mu Xiaoyun came to the continent, she encountered the sect members' intake. She had joined the sect once before and knew that joining a sect in this strange place could get her protection. She was lucky to be chosen by the sect, as she was a pure wood spirit root. She was treated like a treasure. Mu Xiaoyun didn't defy everyone's hopes and soon ascended to the immortal realm, becoming the second most talented person on the continent in 1,000 years. Mu Xiaoyun's master, Guan Lai's martial sister, ascended to the immortal realm decades ago. Hearing Mu Xiaoyun's glory on the continent, Yemo felt happy for her. He got up and bowed to Guangjie. "I'll thank the sect for Xiaoyun." "Qianbei, I don't care to accept this." Guangjie quickly got up. Even an idiot could tell that Yemo was close to Mu Xiaoyun. She suddenly remembered her martial sister say that Xiaoyun was looking for her husband. Was this Yemo Xiaoyun's husband in the mortal realm? How was this possible? "No, you deserve it. Xiaoyun is my wife. I'm very grateful that Lotus Glory sect cared for Xiaoyun. I will go visit the place Xiaoyun lived at after this, and then set up a sect protection formation that even immortals can't break open for the Lotus Glory sect." Yemo said seriously. "Huh?" Guangjie was dazed. Yemo was indeed Xiaoyun's husband, but what did he say afterwards? He would set up a formation that even immortals can't break through? Was he stronger than immortals? How was this possible? Guangjia was struck by huge bliss. The nearby truth realization states heard this. Yemo said he would set up a sect protection formation that even immortals can't break. This meant that Yemo was at least an immortal and not an ordinary one. Realizing this, everyone looked at Guangjia with envy. When Yemo went to the sect, anything he took out would make the already very strong Lotus Glory sect even stronger. Thank you, Qianbei. Guangjia woke up. She was a little dazed from Th's huge bliss. Don't call me Qianbei. Xiaoyun is Lotus Glory sect's disciple, just call me Yemo. Yemo sighed. Yemo glanced around at the extremely respectful cultivators and thought before saying, everyone probably knows I'm from the immortal realm. I actually came down by accident. I have a sect in the immortal realm called MOU Immortal Sect. If you guys have nowhere to go in the immortal realm, you can come to my MOU Immortal Sect. Thank you, Qianbei. The rest of the truth realization states got up in joy and bowed to Yemo. Only after they reached the immortal realm would they know what MOU Immortal Sect meant. Yemo didn't stop them this time. He intentionally said this to help Lotus Glory sects get some allies. He believed that after saying this, even if some sects were jealous of Lotus Joy sect, they wouldn't join up against them. By the way, I brought 2 friends over. One is called Hao Qionying and her brother is called Yuhei. Take them here. After I'm done with things, I need to leave Xinqiang continent. After I do, take them into your sect. Yemo said. Yes, Yi Qianbei. Guangjia hesitated and still called Yi Qianbei. Then, she flew off the main stage and went to find the 2. When Yemo said he was looking for Qi Wanqing, a pretty woman at a distant square looked dazedly at Yemo. Her face was pretty but couldn't resist the corrosion of time. She looked down and rubbed her eyes before slowly walking out. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2073 News of Qi Wanqing. Chapter 2073 News of Qi Wanqing. She recognized Yemo, but she felt she didn't have the face to see him. Mu Xiaoyun, who came to the Xinqiang continent with her, was extremely famous, but she couldn't even join a sect. She didn't think about finding Xiaoyun as she didn't have the face. Grandma Feng took Xiaoyun to the teleportation formation in that hole not because of goodwill. If Yemo didn't give Xiaoyun a protection measure, she would have been killed by Elder Feng. Grandma Feng was the backup of Ice Lake and her elder. As the sect leader of Ice Lake, she couldn't avoid things. Regardless, she had great relations with Grandma Feng. Grandma Feng pretty much died to Yemo's hands. Regardless, she didn't want to see Yemo nor think of the past. She was also sad thinking about the Marshall brothers and sisters that got lost coming to this world. She was pretty much alone in this world. Elon, the tournament isn't over yet. Where are you going? A female cultivator who looked older than Ji Elon stopped her. So what if it ended? So what if it didn't? I've thought it through. I have no chance entering the Shintruth spirit grounds. I might as well leave. Ji Elon sighed. Yemo could probably see her with spirit sense, but he wouldn't be able to recognize her, but staying here made her feel bad. Guangjia took the excited Hao Qionying and Yuhei over. Before Guangjia said anything, Hao Qionying was extremely thankful. Yemo left her with top-grade spirit stones and extreme-grade spirit artifacts. Now she was taken into 9-star sect Lotus Glory sect and became the personal disciple of the Truth Realization State Elder Guangjia. This was an honor amongst honor. I've already taken the 2 to be my personal disciples, please rest assured, Qianbei. Guangjia said. The rest of the Truth Realization State saw this and all came congratulate. They even took out gifts to Hao Qionying and Yuhei. The discussion was heated. There were people managing the stages, so these Truth Realization States surrounded Yemo and asked all sorts of questions. After 2 hours, Yemo no longer had the mood. There was no news about Qi Wanqing. Just when Emo was about to leave a truth realization state, level 9 got up and bowed. Yi Qianbei, why don't you wait 2 days here? I'll publish the search for goddess Wan Qing. I believe as long as she once appeared on this continent she would be found. Emo thought about it and nodded. Okay, I'll wait another 2 days. Emo needed another month to scan his spirit sense over the entire continent. 2 days later, there was no news of Qi Wanqing, but Gong Hong came to see Emo alone. When he came up and saw the tens of truth realization states could only sit on Emo's side, he knew that Emo was very extraordinary. Duan Ganyuan didn't come? Emo asked. Gong Hong quickly said. After he handed over the saved female cultivators, he left. He didn't resist, so I didn't kill him. Emo nodded. That will do, thank you. It's an honor to do things for Qianbei. Is there anything else Qianbei needs me to do? Gong Hong asked. Nothing else, but any cultivator crawled up from the bottom. It's true that power is everything in the cultivation realm, but Xian High City is yours. Helping out ordinary cultivators is also adding a line of hope for your Dao. Emo said. Emo didn't bullshit. As a Dao molding divine emperor, he knew that Dao vindication wasn't just about carnage and power. When everything you did came from the bottom of your heart, and you could face it, then you can talk about Dao vindication. Otherwise, you can only vindicate Dao through other means and vindicate small Dao. Yes, Wanbei will remember this. Gong Hong answered. After Gong Hong left, Emo got up and saluted with his fist to the truth realization states. I'm going. If you guys have any news of Qi Wanqing, please send it to Lotus Glory Sect. Then, Emo took out tens of low-grade defense immortal artifacts and said, I have some low-grade defense immortal artifacts, take one each. These were really useless to Emo. His body was much stronger than low-grade defense immortal artifact, but this was the cultivation realm. Anything immortal artifact was the best. Plus, it was difficult for truth realization state to use top-grade immortal artifacts. The reason he took out defense immortal artifacts was because he didn't want to take out a bunch of offensive immortal artifacts and cause rivers of blood. Seeing Emo take out this many immortal artifacts in one go, how could the truth realization states not be happy? They all got up to thank Emo. Many 9-star sects didn't have an immortal artifact. These immortal artifact could immediately be taken back as the sect protection treasure. At this moment, a messenger flying sword landed in a middle-aged truth realization state. That truth realization state looked at it, and immediately sent the message over to Emo in surprise and joy. Yi Qianbei, there's news of Wanqing goddess. Emo grabbed the message in excitement, and scanned this message quickly. He soon got news of Qi Wanqing. She was at a place a few million miles away called Tupmi Town. There was a golden core state female who said she knew Qi Wanqing. The distance was too far, so she asked if Qi Wanqing should be brought over or if Emo would go over. Emo quickly put the messenger flying sword away and said to the middle-aged truth realization state, Thank you very much, do you have a map? The truth realization state forced down his excitement, and took out a map jade slip and marked a line and then passed it to Emo. I've marked the location of the Tuomi town. Qianbei just needs to go that way. He knew that the reason Emo asked for the map was to help him. Emo glanced at the map and said to Guangjie, I'm going to find my friend. I'll come to Lotus Glory Sect after. Goodbye for now. Then Emo said goodbye and his figure dimmed down. There was disappointment in the truth realization state's eyes. Emo didn't leave him anything, but before he finished the thought, Emo's voice sounded by his ear. I've left some things in your storage ring, good luck. The truth realization state quickly scanned his spirit sense into his storage ring. There was 100 crystals with extremely dense immortal spirit chi. Just scanning his spirit sense through these immortal crystals made him feel his cultivation level about to break through. His heart skipped crazily. This was definitely immortal crystals, and there were even immortal pills and a good flying immortal artifact next to it. He made it. He suppressed his joy and wanted to immediately take out these things and check them one by one. But he knew that Yi Qianbei didn't give it to him straight away to protect him. If he took it out now, he would be an idiot. Tuomi town was extremely far and didn't have a lot of spirit chi. It was a gathering place for solo cultivators. They were gathered here because of Tuomi mountain ranges. It ranged for a few million kms and had many ancient ruins inside. Many ancient cultivators liked to go here for solitary cultivation, and many people couldn't come out. There were also all sorts of spirit beasts and spirit herbs. If you were lucky, you could even find 1 or 2 spirit ranges. That's why this place was so attractive to solo cultivators. Of course, there was more dangers inside. The ranges wasn't very long for high-level cultivators, but rarely could people cross the entire mountain range. Even the top flying magic artifact can't safely fly past the depth of the ranges. Plus, ordinary magic artifact can't even fly in the depth. In an ordinary spirit rest tower, a light green-robed woman sat in a corner in anxiety. She didn't dare to leave as the Duan Kong Ling Island people told her to wait here for a very powerful Qian Bei. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2074 Nightmare. Chapter 2074 Nightmare. Lu Jia, I have a good deal here, do you want to take it? A sharp voice sounded by the green-robed female cultivator's ear. The person talking was extremely robust. If one didn't hear his voice, one would never believe such a man spoke this sharply. This female cultivator looked at this man and shook her head. Brother Chow, I won't go. I have other things, you Guzi, go first. Brother Chow laughed. Lu Jia, just listen to me. There's nothing more important than this. I said I've already arranged to meet someone. Lu Jia frowned. The male cultivator asked. Who did you arrange to meet? I'll help you push it off. She arranged to meet me. Yi Mo's voice sounded. Hearing this, Lu Jia immediately stood up in shock. She got news that Yi Mo was more than a few million kms away. There was no way he was here in such a short time. If what the people from Duan Kong Ling Island said was true, then this Qian Bei was too scary. Who the fuck are you? The Chow guy just said these words and felt his body go light. Then, he was thrown out. When he landed, he found he was face down on the ground in a small gully outside the town. He got up in terror and quickly released his flying magic artifact and fled. He didn't dare to come into this town again. This person easily threw a golden core state peak stage like him out of the town. What power was this? He had never heard of such master. You're Lu Jia? Yi Mo suppressed his excitement and set up a sound barrier restriction as he sat opposite her. Yes, Qian Bei, Wan Bei is Lu Jia. Lu Jia resisted her shock and terror. Yi Mo easily threw Chao Wenming out. Such power was unheard of. I'm Yi Mo. I'm Qi Wanqing's friend. Tell me where she is? Yi Mo asked. Lu Jia looked experienced. Her look was ordinary, but her eyes were extremely pretty. Lu Jia showed a disappointed look and bowed. So Qian Bei is Yi Mo. Wanqing had mentioned Qian Bei more than once. She said she came to find Qian Bei, but she never was able to. Sigh. Seeing this, Yi Mo's heart sunk. He had a bad feeling. Lu Jia, tell me where she is now? Wanqing had been with me. We've been striving in Tuomi mountain ranges. It's tiring, but we both reached golden core state. Wanqing's talent was much better than mine. If she didn't use most of her earnings to buy face-preserving pills, she might even be hollow spirit state now. Yi Mo really wanted to listen to Wanqing's experiences, but he still interrupted Lu Jia and said, Tell me this later, where is she now? Wanqing is gone. Lu Jia felt Yi Mo's desperation and worry. Suddenly, she felt Wanqing didn't wait for nothing. What? Yi Mo's face went pale and even his head became a little dizzy. He could long feel Qi Wanqing's feelings for him at the forest and the border. When he heard that Qi Wanqing came out of the Xianjia mountain teleportation formation, Yi Mo guessed that she was probably looking for him. When he saw Su Jingwen was almost dead. But he didn't have that much luck this time. Lu Zhai sighed and said sadly. 50 years ago, Wan Qing and I joined up to search a ruin, but we saw an almost level 7 one-eyed wolf. We fled and got lost in the ranges. When we woke up, we had come to the most dangerous part of the ranges, Tomi Snow Plateau. Wan Qing died there. My capabilities were limited and I couldn't even bring her body back. Emo clenched his fists. He felt he owed Qi Wanqing. If it wasn't due to him, Qi Wanqing wouldn't die in a foreign place. She would age and die like a normal person on Earth with her family. He thought of the snowy day he saw Su Jingwen. Did Qi Wanqing feel lonely roaming here alone? Did she hope to get home before she died? At this moment, she felt the terror and loneliness Qi Wanqing had here. Lu Zhai could feel Yemo shaking. She could even feel Yemo's qi become unstable. Just when she wanted to persuade Yemo, she felt a chaotic qi strike her chest and she couldn't resist, spitting a mouthful of blood. Yemo suddenly woke up and quickly collected his qi and took out a pill to her. Sorry, I lost control. Lu Zhai forced a smile. It's okay. Then, she ate the pill Yemo gave her, but she was more shocked at Yemo's power. What cultivation level was this? Just a casual qi flowing out from him seriously injured her. When she ate that pill, all her injuries were gone and even the pill poison piled up in her body disappeared. All her previous subtle injuries were gone. She was truly shocked. What pill was this? It was definitely beyond level 9 spirit pill. Seeing Lu Zhai calm down, Yemo asked. Lu Zhai, how did Wan Qing die? Lu Zhai recounted. We were lost in the Tuomi Snow Plateau. There were avalanches and snow ditches everywhere. We couldn't release our flying magic artifact nor use any mobility technique. We had to carefully find our way out. However, Wan Qing misstepped and was devoured by the snow whirlpool. In my sorrow I knew there was nothing I could do other than keep walking out. Perhaps I was destined to not die. When I got out of the snow plateau I saw a disaster transformation state Qianbei and he took me outside the mountains ranges. Yemo suddenly got up and said, Lu Zhai, please take me to that snow plateau. I will definitely pay you back. Huh? Lu Zhai dazed. Even if Yemo was truth realization state, he would be in danger to go there. I promise you won't get hurt. Yemo added. Lu Zhai immediately said firmly. I went in there with Wan Qing and I came out alone. Even now, I still miss here. What do I have to fear going there again? Okay, let's go now. Yemo immediately got up. Lu Zhai stood on the blue moon and felt Yemo was very extraordinary. This flying magic artifact fused into the void and left no trace. What flying magic artifact was this? Yemo released Blue Moon to get there faster. Blue Moon was the top flying immortal artifact even in the immortal realm. It used less than 5 minutes to get to the Tomi mountain ranges and this was Yemo purposely slowing down. The mountain ranges twisted and turned. It was boundless. Even though Lu Zhai stayed here for a few hundred years, she couldn't recognize any corner. But with Yemo, she didn't need to worry about being ambushed by spirit beasts. She soon found the path she entered the ranges with Qi Wanqing. Lu Zhai's heart skipped fast. This was her first time seeing someone could fly in the Tomi mountain ranges. Qianbei, we need to go down or I won't be able to know the way, Lu Zhai said. Yemo nodded and got off Blue Moon. Lu Zhai didn't go fast but she didn't forget the path. Half a day later, Lu Zhai stopped at a spot where a few valleys were entwined and pointed at a valley. Yi Qianbei, Yemo interrupted her. Lu Zhai, you're friends with Wan Qing, so we're friends. Don't call me Qianbei, call me Brother Yi. Yes, Brother Yi, Lu Zhai said. What were you going to say? Yemo asked. Lu Zhai quickly continued. Brother Yi, we accidentally came here before and saw a wolf that was almost level 7. It was due to that wolf that we were forced into the snow plateau. Yemo stared at the valley and his eyes went cold and sharp. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2075 Void Pin. Chapter 2075 Void Pin. Yemo's spirit sense just scanned in, and a tall, dark gray figure appeared in his spirit sense. Grr. That's it, it's already level 7. Although Lu Zhai knew that Yemo was probably not scared of this level 7 wolf, she was still nervous. The wolf looked 3 meters tall, and only had one eye that shot out dark red beams. The eye didn't charge over as Lu Zhai thought. Instead, it stared at Yemo carefully, clearly sensing Yemo wasn't ordinary. Yemo suddenly grabbed at his side. A huge rock shot into Yemo's hands. The wolf subconsciously retreated a few meters, but it soon stopped, as though feeling that even if Yemo threw the rock at him, it wouldn't affect him at all. Lu Zhai also stared at Yemo in shock. She didn't understand why Yemo grabbed the stone. Could stones kill a level 7 spirit beast? Yemo ignored her and threw out a ball of flame. The huge stone was instantly turned into 10 rock spears. When Lu Zhai's spirit sense scanned the 5 rock spears, she opened her mouth wide in shock. Those spears were already spirit artifact. Was her eyes blind? If any rock on the side of the road could be turned into spirit artifact in the matter of seconds, then spirit artifacts would be all over this world. The wolf clearly wasn't dumb. When it stared at the spears, second eyes instantly narrowed. At the same time, he turned. But then, the wolf saw that it couldn't even more, much less turn. It had some intelligence. The dark red was gone in second eyes. Instead, it was filled with horror. It kept making whimpering sounds as though begging for mercy. Yemo's 5 spears suddenly shot out. The wolf seemed to have been pulled up into the air as the 5 spears penetrated it in the air. There was no support, the 5 spears just pinned the wolf in the air. Blood fell along the spear tip to the ground. The wolf howled in pain. Lu Zhai forgot to even talk. She guessed that the wolf would be no match for Yemo, but it couldn't even resist at all and was nailed in mid-air. Even truth realization state Qianbei wouldn't have such crazy acts. Why didn't that wolf fall? Where was the 5 spears locked onto? Yemo suddenly said. Once your cultivation reaches a certain level, any void can be seen. If you're willing, you can tear open void and head to another void. It's too early for you, but sooner or later you will understand. Let's go now, take me to the snow plateau. This wolf hunted Wan Qing, it can wait to die. Yes. Lu Zhai didn't understand what Yemo said at all. But she knew Yemo's power was probably beyond some truth realization state peak stages. Seeing this, Lu Zhai felt more secure and she sped up. Even so, Yemo felt she was too slow. He couldn't calm down before he found where Wan Qing went missing, so he put his hand on her waist and said, You point the way, I'll take you. Lu Zhai had been alone all these years and had never had a man hold her waist. When Yemo held her, her body went tense, but she soon understood that Yemo wasn't trying to take advantage of her. With Yemo's help, they sped up quickly. Lu Zhai felt that as long as she pointed the way, she could fly in the ranges and she didn't encounter a single spirit beast nor those gravity whirlpools. As Lu Zhai got used to this speed, she felt Yemo send her essence chi. That slightly warm essence chi went into her meridians, picking up her speed and make her feel something else. This feeling became more and more real as she flew. Eventually she felt her legs go soft and breathing become heavier. At this moment, a boundless snow plateau appeared before them. Yemo let go of Lu Zhai and asked, Is this the snow plateau? Lu Zhai stumbled and almost fell to the ground, but she quickly covered this up and said awkwardly, Yes, it's here. This is the border of the Toemi snow plateau. We went in from here and went straight. After about half a day, Wan Qing was swept away by the snow whirlpool. Lu Zhai calmed down, and there was a sliver of sadness in her tone. Yemo nodded and took out a cultivation home magic artifact. Stay in here and wait for me. I'm going in to find Wan Qing. Remember, even if level 9 spirit beast or truth realization state cultivator comes, they wouldn't be able to do anything to you as long as you don't leave this cultivation home. I understand, Lu Zhai said. Yemo gave her a storage ring. There's some spirit stones and pills. You can break through to nascent soul here. No one will disturb you. Huh! Yemo had dashed into the snow plateau already. The pills inside were made by small ginseng. Small ginseng couldn't concoct a mortal pill but could concoct some spirit pills. As for outside the cultivation home, Yemo set up an immortal formation for recognizing Lu Zhai's chi. Seeing Yemo disappear, Lu Zhai shook her head. Yemo's cultivation level was top level, but he didn't understand how hard it was for low-level cultivators to reach nascent soul. It wasn't just a matter of spirit stones. But she was hopeful of Yemo's storage ring. When she scanned her spirit sense in, she almost dropped the storage ring. This storage ring was too insane. There was a bottle of Chao Huan pill. That was a grade 1 heaven pill. Chao Huan pill was used to break through to nascent soul. Even one would need her to work for countless years, but there was an entire bottle here. Nascent essence pill, blue carrot pill, hollow meridian pill, break spirit pill. She was completely dumb, and even forgot there were stacks of spirit stones. With this many cultivation resources, she didn't need to stay at Tuomi mountain ranges. Yeah, breakthrough to nascent soul. Lu Zhai couldn't resist it anymore and quickly got ready for solitary cultivation. The Tuomi snow plateau had boundless snow peaks, snow ditches and cliffs. The bigger danger here was gravity. Even truth realization state can't fly here. If one sunk into a snow whirlpool, he would have to climb up slowly. When Yemo charged into the plane, his spirit sense spread out all over. His spirit sense had recovered to 50,000 kilometers range. If his spirit sense completely recovered now, he would grab this entire snow plateau and melt it. A few million km of snow was no bigger than a palm for a Tao molding divine emperor. A pretty woman saw Yemo dashing around in the snow plateau. Next to her was a handsome male cultivator. They stood there as though there was no danger. Clearly, they were truth realization state. This person's power is so high. He can walk like he's flying, the handsome male cultivator exclaimed. Martial brother Jiaqing. He went into the snow plains, the pretty woman said in amazement. But soon Yemo dashed into a snow valley and disappeared from their spirit sense. Yemo saw the two truth realization state, but he didn't care. With Yemo going around so quick, snow mists, avalanches and whirlpools increased. Even these two truth realization states had to move away from Yemo's place. Yi, let's go, it's probably a truth realization state peak stage master. The handsome man said. The female shook her head. Wait, I want to see such master. The man cared about the woman a lot and said nothing. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2076 I'm Really Lonely. Chapter 2076 I'm Really Lonely. Yemo searched in a larger and larger area on the snow. He didn't want to give up any corner. 2 days' time, Yemo had never relaxed at all. He even set aside recovering. Yi, let's go. This person has been searching underground for 2 days. The male cultivator said, but they were resting in a cultivation home magic artifact. Yi frowned and said in annoyance, Martial brother Jiaqing, you can go first, no need to wait for me. Seeing that the female cultivator was really angry, Jiaqing quickly apologized and didn't dare to say anything anymore. Yemo stared dazedly at the bottom of the valley where it was ice on all sides. He was shaking. Ever since he cultivated, it was his first time he felt so powerless. He couldn't even make a step out. 3 meters in front of him was Qi Wanqing sitting with her eyes open. She seemed to be saying something, but her body was now lifeless. Yemo struggled and knelt on one knee in front of her and touched her face. Her looks looked exactly the same as before. Yemo suddenly felt there was something stuck in his throat. Qi Wanqing still looked the same clearly because she didn't freeze to death. When she fell in here, she probably knew that she would never be able to go out and knew cultivation was impossible down here. She would eventually freeze to death by this icy cold, so she ended her own life at her prime and used her life force to preserve her face. Yemo remembered to the time when he first saw her. Brother Yi. I'll take it off myself, I didn't bring pants. Brother Yi, I want to ask you to help me with something. She wanted to help him find a job but was scared she would hurt his self-esteem. No, the next time I see it I will still stop it. If you're poisoned, it would be over, but if I'm poisoned perhaps you can save me. Brother Yi, I don't understand these things. You saved me, I just don't want you to be bitten by the snake. If it happens again I will still do the same. The scenes with Qi Wanqing gradually cleared up in Yemo's mind. He couldn't give her what she wanted. Yemo's hands slowly caressed Qi Wanqing's hair and his eyes fell on the wall next to her. There were some words. If you find me here one day please take me back to see my parents, and then place me next to where you live. That way I can see you every day. If one day you really came to see me, do you still remember the hairbrush I gave you? I've always hoped you could brush my hair with that brush. If you came, I want to tell you that I'm really lonely. Yemo felt the tip of his nose go sour. He suddenly realized he owed her this much without him even noticing. He felt Qi Wanqing's painting like beauty. How could Yemo not know that Qi Wanqing preserved her looks for him? She trusted that he would be able to find her one day. Yemo took out a wooden brush. There was still a phone number on it. Qi Wanqing left it for him. He picked the brush up and carefully brushed Qi Wanqing's long hair. His movements were dumb as he rarely did this, but he tried to be gentle. Yemo finally couldn't hold it anymore as his eyes teared. The tear fell on Qi Wanqing's black hair. At this moment, he suddenly realized that even though he vindicated Dao, he still couldn't see his own emotional world straight. Qi Wanqing closed her eyes slowly as though her final wish had been fulfilled. Wanqing, Yemo said. He could feel his hands shake heavily. I'm really lonely. Yemo could imagine how lost and alone she was when she wrote this down. Yemo suddenly felt very grateful to Lu Zhai. At least when Wanqing was striving on here, Lu Zhai accompanied her. Sometimes death wasn't scary, but that endless loneliness and yearning was a torture for Qi Wanqing. Wanqing, you can stay with me no matter how long. Yemo took out the chaos tree. He knew that even this tree couldn't revive her, but he still said to Chaos Tree, I want to borrow a branch of yours. Wanqing did this for me. No matter what the future is, I hope there is a tree of life branch with her forever. As though understanding this, the Chaos Tree wobbled, then a 20 centimeters branch fell into Yemo's hands. Yemo carefully placed this branch in Qi Wanqing's hands. Only now did he find a small lump next to her which had an icy tablet. Little Wolf's Tomb. Yemo saw this and felt sad again. Wanqing had no friends coming to this continent, only the little wolf he gave her, and now it was dead too. Yemo carried up Qi Wanqing and stood for a long time before waving his hand a few times. As he moved, the entire valley and icy wall was brought up and completely put into the Golden Page world. With this large area being taken away by Yemo, the entire plateau erupted. Avalanches set off like crazy as snow whirlpools were created. That female cultivator stared at this chaotic snow plateau in shock. Just what is he doing? Why did it cause such a big commotion? At this moment, she and the man quickly retreated. Even though they were truth realization state, they couldn't do anything in this situation. Before the male cultivator could answer, a figure howled as he charged out of the snow. He's carrying a female cultivator. The truth realization state man finally saw clearly. However, there was a female cultivator in his hands, and she seemed lifeless. Such power! The truth realization state stared at Yemo in shock and fervor. The entire snow plains was raging like a storm, but Yemo stood just 100 meters above the snow wave unaffected at all. He can fly on the Tuomi snow plains? The man was shocked. The female cultivator is lifeless, but the branch in her hands emits life force like I've never seen before. Perhaps the entire cultivation realm doesn't have something as good as this. Yui finally moved her eyes from Yemo. She admired and liked those young and powerful cultivators and liked unique treasures even more. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: You can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2077 Divine Tao Rebirth. Chapter 2077 Divine Tao Rebirth. The long howl stopped, but the snow waves didn't. The sky seemed to have been invaded by this rolling snow, and affected by Yi Mo's melancholic mourn. It started to snow. Yi Mo stood and didn't move until lightning howled over from the distance. He suddenly woke up and carefully put Qi Wan Qing under the bitter bamboo. When he left the mountain ranges, he would make the prettiest place for Qi Wan Qing to stay. There was a Luoyin in the Golden Page world too. He was planning to give her back to her sect, to her brother. But Qi Wan Qing was different. He knew her feelings, and she was going to stay with him in the Golden Page world forever. It was because of this that he planned to use the best materials to build a place for Qi Wan Qing. He would plant flowers around it personally. He knew her soul was gone, but he put a branch in her hand just so her life force can be forever preserved, hoping that one day the tree of life's life force would see into her body. After sending Qi Wan Qing into the Golden Page world, he looked at the direction of the lightning. He guessed that Lu Zhai was having her divine damnation. Yi Mo was very grateful to her for staying with Qi Wan Qing. He would go protect her and ask her if she wanted to join Lotus Glory sect. Yi Mo left the snow, and as soon as he came to the border, a red figure flew over. Yi Mo stopped. He knew these two. They were standing on the side when he was searching for Qi Wan Qing. Martial brother, hello, I'm Hong Yi. I'm amazed by your temperament. May I know Martial brother's name? The female truth realization state cultivator said. I'm Yi Mo. Yi Mo said plainly. After hearing this, Hong Yi said happily, Brother Yi, I'm really happy that I can get to know you. Do you have time? I want to ask you a few questions privately. Yi Mo dazed. He thought of the times Qi Wan Qing called him brother. Hong Yi's brother was so fake, but Wan Qing's brother would be never heard again. Brother Yi. Seeing Yi Mo go into a day, Hong Yi moaned again. There seemed to be embarrassment on her face. Yi Mo glanced at the truth realization state male behind her. Without needing to ask, he knew that these two were probably a couple. Seeing Yi Mo frown at martial brother Jiaqing, Hong Yi suddenly felt that she shouldn't have brought martial brother Jiaqing here. This might cause a misunderstanding. She quickly turned around and said, Martial brother Jiaqing, go out first. I need to talk with brother Yi. There was a sliver of disgust in Yi Mo's eyes. He felt this Hong Yi was so fake. She was indeed pretty, but he disliked such women the most. Yi Mo actually misunderstood this Hong Yi. She really liked Yi Mo on first sight, but she was like this to any handsome, powerful male cultivator, even the martial brother Jiaqing next to her. If she saw anyone better than the one she was with, she would immediately like that person. Seeing Yi Mo was stronger than her partner, she immediately wanted to switch. Yi. The male cultivator didn't want to leave but was scared of the female cultivator and called out timidly. Hong Yi frowned and said, Why do you always follow me? What do you want with me? Just say it here? Yi Mo forced his temper down. Brother Yi, I want to talk to you alone. Hong Yi blushed. She felt that every time she changed a guy, it was a new love experience. She loved this feeling. Piss off. Yi Mo sneered and couldn't be bothered talking to this Hong Yi. You. Hong Yi's face went pale as snow. She was pretty and had powerful background. No one has ever dared to say piss off to her. Seeing Yi Mo leave, she came to her sense and called out to that martial brother Jiaqing. Hurry up and bring him here and teach him a lesson. Hurry. But. Jiaqing was a truth realization state, but he grew up without facing the harsh world. He didn't feel Yi Mo did anything wrong. Plus, he didn't feel he was a match for Yi Mo. Seeing martial brother Jiaqing not move, Hong Yi sneered. Okay, from now on no, I'll go immediately. Martial brother Jiaqing dashed and chased away at Yi Mo. Yi Mo just stared at this truth realization state and said, Are all the female cultivators on Xinqiang continent dead? You actually like such a trash. Then Yi Mo disappeared. The truth realization state dazed there thinking about what Yi Mo said. In the depth of the mountain ranges there was a furious howl that was extremely powerful. The intense killing intent interrupted the man's thoughts. He looked at the depth of the Tuomi mountain ranges in terror. How is the level 10 Wolf King startled? In the endless void between the immortal realm and cultivation realm, an ordinary asteroid suddenly cracked. Endless flames erupted from the asteroid and a completely naked man stood in the flames. Everyone thought I would gather my soul in the immortal realm, but I think you guys didn't expect me to be reborn in flames between the immortal realm and cultivation realm. You guys aren't enough to kill me, Truth Divine Emperor. Just wait for me to go find you one by one, ha ha ha. The man laughed. This man was Truth Divine Emperor. He never died. His body just crippled. He knew the other divine emperors wouldn't let him rebirth so easily, so he gave up a strand of soul, creating countless ghost ships in the immortal realm void. Meanwhile, he used a rune to leave the immortal realm and cultivate divine Tao rebirth in the void. He had long gotten this cultivation method, but he couldn't make up the mind to cultivate it, as in order to cultivate this, one must give up his original power and body. That time, he was ambushed and his body crippled. This made him make up the mind to cultivate this cultivation method. Even so, he still set up all sorts of other things to make the other divine emperors think he just wanted to gather his soul and rebirth. He even threw most of his things in a cultivation realm. After rebirth, he realized how terrifying this divine Tao rebirth was. His body was rebuilt, and he already had power equal to that of his prime. Once his cultivation level stabled, he would be easily able to break through to Tao actualization Divine Emperor. He waved his hand and grabbed a few asteroids. They were soon turned into a set of clothes. How is my immortal carnage tower in the immortal realm? Truth Divine Emperor immediately sensed the tower in Yimo's hands. His tower was spirit-controlled. Luckily, he left marks in there. The tower was extremely important to him. He immediately wanted to go take it back, but the instant he moved, his face changed again and he murmured, "The Chaos Tree Chi actually appeared in a cultivation realm." He laughed hysterically again. "The Chaos Tree Chi is actually in the cultivation realm, haha." He was certain that other people could feel it too, but by the time he went to the cultivation realm and took the tree, other people were probably thinking about how to head to the cultivation realm. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2078 Roaring Wolf King. Chapter 2078 Roaring Wolf King. When Yemo saw Lu Zhai, she had already passed her final divine damnation. Although her armor was smashed apart, Yemo gave her a few extreme-grade spirit artifacts so she had minimal injuries. Lu Zhai just quickly stabilized her cultivation level and came up to Yemo. She was filled with joy. She had always dreamed of reaching nascent soul, and now it was realized. "Brother Yi, thank you?" Lu Zhai couldn't express her joy. "Congratulations, Lu Zhai, change your clothes and then we'll go out." Yemo felt happy for her too, but he really couldn't bring up his mood. Lu Zhai thought of what Yemo went to do and subconsciously asked, "Brother Yi, did you find Wan Qing?" Yemo nodded. "Yes, thanks for telling me about her." Seeing Yemo's look, Lu Zhai knew that Wan Qing was probably no longer alive. She said in self-reproach, "Sorry, Brother Yi, I wasn't able to find her." "This has nothing to do with you," Yemo said sadly. Lu Zhai wasn't able to help Wan Qing at all. Those who could help Wan Qing from down there had to be at least disaster transformation state tertiary stage, and must have some luck. Lu Zhai silently went in and changed her clothes, but Yemo's thoughts were focused. Lu Zhai soon changed her clothes and came out of the cultivation home mansion. Just when Yemo was going to put it away, he felt something wrong. His cultivation home magic artifact was attacked from the outside. He set up immortal crystals and the level was very high, so the attacks didn't do much to the formation. He didn't believe Lu Zhai would attack the place she cultivated. "Lu Zhai, did someone come and attack here?" Yemo immediately asked. "No, I had been cultivating inside." I didn't feel any attacks, Lu Jai said. Yemo knew she was in solitary cultivation and didn't sense the attacks from outside. His formation was too high level. Even if a truth realization state primary stage came to attack it, the people inside wouldn't be affected. Was this place attacked? Lu Jai asked. Yemo nodded. Yes, definitely, but the formation's level is too high and the attacker didn't open it, so he left. He probably went back for him. We can ignore him, let's go out first. There was another roar with fury. The depth of the Tuomi mountain ranges swept over a rotting scent. Brother Yi, it seems to be the level 10 Tuomi mountain ranges Wolf King. Seeing that Yemo didn't seem to hear it, Lu Jai said shakily. The level 10 Wolf King was very powerful. It said even a few truth realization state level 9 can't kill it. Yemo released a flying magic artifact and said, "It has nothing to do with us." He wouldn't even care about a level 10 immortal beast, much less a level 10 spirit beast. Wait, Brother Yi, I think the one-eyed wolf we killed before might be related to the Wolf King, Lu Jai said worriedly. One-eyed wolf? Yemo immediately thought of the wolf he killed. The fury in his heart immediately found a venting point. If it wasn't for that wolf, Wanqing wouldn't be lost in the snow plains. Now that there was a beast coming out to avenge the wolf, how can Yemo show mercy? Wait, Yemo said and disappeared. Yemo used a transmission and came to the valley he killed the wolf at a few days ago. The wolf pinned in the air was gone. You have some power, you actually took the body away. Yemo sneered and flashed back to Lu Jai. The wolf I killed is taken away. It's probably by a high-level spirit beast in the depth. I didn't even go to them, and they actually come to me. I'm going to go check, how about I send you out first? Yemo was going to annihilate this wolf family. Brother Yi, I'll go with you even though I can't help much. If you don't think I'm deadweight, Lu Jai said. Yemo said, Okay, let's go see that roaring wolf king. Qian Bei, it's there, the border of the Tuomi Plains. I saw a very high-level cultivation home. Even when I attacked the defense formation with full power, I couldn't open it. I suspect that the cultivation home showed because a stealth formation was broken. A brown-robed cauldron-filling state said to the two truth realization states behind him. He was full of bitterness. He found this cultivation home and realized he couldn't break open it, so he immediately sent a messenger flying sword wanting to ask for help. However, his message was seen by a truth realization state Qian Bei, and now, he had to lead the way for the truth realization state Qian Bei. Just lead the way. If what you're saying is true, I have good things to give you, the gray-robed truth realization state said expressionlessly. Yes, yes, the cauldron-filling state nodded shakily. Just when he said this, a powerful roar sounded. The cauldron-filling state's face changed and immediately stopped. The two truth realization states behind him also stopped. Soon, they saw two young truth realization state charging out. Their eyes were filled with anxiety. Dao friends, what happened? Why is the Wolf King out? The gray-robed truth realization state asked. Suddenly, there was huge space ripple. A 3-meter-tall dark-faced man stood before them. A few mere truth realization states dared to kill my wolf race. Die. The man waved out thousands of wind blades forming space bindings that bound the 5. The 4 truth realization state immediately released their defense magic artifact and their domain before breaking free and retreating. If it was outside, these truth realization states wouldn't have such low hand of the battle, but in here, the gravity was strong and the dark-faced man had the advantage. The cauldron-filling state was torn to pieces. You're the Wolf King of the Tuomi mountain ranges, you can't just attack without reason like this, the gray-robed cultivator said. So what? Can you deny that humans killed our wolf race? You guys are getting bolder and bolder. You dare to kill my wolf race. The man's force was very powerful. You're wrong. I killed that wolf. I never denied it. I just checked. Someone moved the body of the wolf I killed. That person is quite bold. Yemo's voice sounded. No wonder it was called Wolf King, it could morph into human form. You! The man saw Yemo bring a nascent soul cultivator over and immediately stared at him in shock. He didn't understand where Yemo got his confidence from. The four truth realization states stared at Yemo with uncertainty. They didn't understand why Yemo dared to mess with the dragon in the ocean. Hon Yuyi cursed Yemo for being an idiot but rejoiced that Yemo was going to die before she attacked. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2079 One Palm. Chapter 2079 One Palm. When the dark-faced man saw that he couldn't see through Yemo's cultivation level, he didn't speak any tough words and just sent out a messenger flying sword with a frown. Yemo didn't seem to see this and stared at the two older truth realization states. I set up a cultivation home next to the Tomi border. Did one of you attack it and then call a partner over? Yemo's tone was calm, but there was extreme pressure. The truth realization states instantly felt that. Now, they realized why Yemo talked so cockily, and the dark-faced man sent a messenger flying sword. Dao friend set up the cultivation home? The gray-robed truth realization state asked in shock. Yemo sneered but said nothing. The two truth realization states didn't dare to say anything. Hong Yuyi was spoiled, but she wasn't dumb. She realized how far the gap between her and Yemo was. She just glanced at Lu Zhai. She didn't understand how this ordinary-looking woman was favored by Yemo. Brother Yi, this dark-faced man is probably the small wolf king. It's said there are two wolf kings in the Tomi mountain ranges. One is big, one is small. Both are very powerful. Lu Zhai's voice was quiet, but it didn't escape the man's ears. He sneered before she finished. Not bad, that's right, I'm the small wolf king. He then looked at Yemo. You killed One-Eyed and set up a formation, making me unable to retrieve his body. I believe you're a powerful being, but I want to know why you killed One-Eye. Although he was kicked out of the Wolf King Valley, he's of Wolf King blood. If you don't have enough reason, this thing won't end here. The four truth realization states heard this and couldn't help feel annoyed. They asked why the man attacked, but he couldn't even be bothered replying. But now, this little Wolf King learned to reason. Yemo knew that even if the stone spears were forcefully removed, the one-eyed wolf body would split apart. No one in the cultivation realm can take away the entire body, but he was annoyed someone took it. My friend was only Golden Core State, and yet she was chased to the edge of the snow plains 50 years ago and died in the snow plains. Do you think I will let this go after just killing in one eye? Just as you said, this won't end here. Yemo's tone was bleak. Haha, 50 years ago, One-Eyed was level 6 peak stage. You're telling me that a level 6 peak stage spirit beast would hunt a Golden Core State and hunt all the way to the snow plains? Pfft, the king shall see how you won't end this here today. The man was careful, but he had been respected for a long time. Even truth realization state cultivators didn't dare to speak to him loudly, and yet he was threatened by Yemo like this. How could he take it? 50 years ago, that one-eyed wolf chased me and Wanqing. It wasn't very fast at the time. We used a speed rune and barely made it to the snow plains. Lu Zhai rebuked. Bullshit, the king. Before the man finished, Yemo waved his hand in the air and this dark-faced man was slapped out tens of teeth. Seeing this man sit on the ground with half of his face bloodied and looking at him in terror, Yemo said coldly, Calling yourself king in front of me? You're too young. Do you know why I haven't killed you yet? Because I heard there was a big wolf king of the Wolf King Valley. The dark-faced man stared at Yemo in shock. He was a level 10 wolf king. Even the strongest person on Xinqiang continent can't slap him away in one palm like a fly. This difference was the difference between heaven and earth. The four truth realization states stared at Yemo in shock. What power was this? Hong Yi reacted first. Her eyes were shining with light. She had forgotten about how Yemo told her to piss off. She had made up her mind that no matter what she would get Yemo. At this moment, a messenger flying sword came. Just when the Wolf King wanted to grab it, he found that flying sword turn and fall into Yemo's hands. The Wolf King crawled up and looked dazedly at Yemo but didn't dare to talk nor run off. Yemo's palm made him wake up. He was certain that Yemo's power was much higher than truth realization state peak stage. His power was beyond the realm suppression of the cultivation realm. Yemo glanced at this flying sword and then gave it back to the Wolf King. Big Wolf King asked you to invite me to your home. Lead the way, my patience is limited. Yes. The Wolf King didn't dare to say an extra word. Yemo turned to Lu Zhai and said, I'm going to the wolf home. If you want to join a sect, go to Lotus Glory Sect. I know Elder Guangjie from there. Tell her I let you go and tell her to take you in as disciple. After I'm done with things here, I will go to Lotus Glory Sect. Lu Zhai suppressed her excitement and said, Thank you, Brother Yi. Lu Zhai will go there first. After seeing Yemo's power, she immediately knew that with Yemo's power, no matter how unfamiliar he was with the place, there was no way he would suffer. After Yemo went into the depth with the Wolf King, the rest of the truth realization states came up to greet Lu Zhai, a nascent soul cultivator. They were even sucking up to her. Other cultivators didn't dare to use flying magic artifact in the Tomi mountain ranges, but the Wolf King dared to. He was the Wolf King here, no high-level spirit beast would dare to raid him. The Wolf King flew the magic artifact extremely fast, probably because he was too scared of Yemo and wanted to bring the news back to the Wolf King Valley first, but no matter how fast he was, Yemo always followed behind him. What shocked him was that Yemo didn't use any flying magic artifact. He was just walking in air and still kept up with him. Half a day later, a green mountain valley appeared before Yemo. Seeing the Wolf King land, Yemo knew this was Wolf King Valley. Only such place would have this dense spirit chi. It was no lesser than his MOU city. He set many spirit ranges below it. Qianbei, please go in, the Wolf King said respectfully. A path stretched into the quiet valley. The low-level spirit beasts on the side looked at the Wolf King just like how the Wolf King looked at Yemo. Yemo's spirit sense landed on the side of the valley. It was a natural formation, and there was a defense formation nearing level 1 immortal formation. It was extremely hard to set up immortal formation in the cultivation realm as there was no immortal crystals. Even extreme grade spirit range can't support immortal formation. The Tuomi mountain ranges wasn't big, but there clearly was reason why the Wolf King chose their home here. After crossing the Green Valley, Yemo saw a patch of grand palaces. In the middle of these, there was a blue palace. Is Puna back? A voice sounded from the main palace. Yemo's spirit sense saw that it was a bulky man speaking too, but his hair was blue like the palace. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2080 New God AR. Chapter 2080 New God AR. You killed One Eye. As soon as Yemo and Puna came in, a coarse voice sounded while a dark ray shot at Yemo. The dark-faced man was shook and quickly went up and stopped that dark ray while palming out. The dark ray was shot out by an incompletely morphed wolf beast. Wolf head and human body. He was palmed by Puna and immediately flipped a few times before smashing on the pole. Puna, what are you doing? The blue-haired man roared. Young Wolf King, what are you doing? The wolf beast also roared. Puna didn't seem to hear the two and said to Yemo respectfully, Qianbei, this is One Eye's father. If Qianbei wants revenge, I can kill him immediately. What did you say? The blue-haired man got up in fury as blue Shachi surrounded him. He was the big Wolf King, and Puna dared to ignore him and be this cocky. Yemo sneered. Did he think he would let them go like this? He didn't need Puna to do it. Just when he was about to kill the half-wolf, half-human, Yemo's face suddenly changed and looked up at the sky. An extremely powerful chi landed from the void. Yemo burned his essence chi and used instant transmission without hesitation. Rumble. A huge palm landed, and the entire Tuomi mountain ranges was palmed a terrifying deep hole by this hand. All spirit beasts and cultivators within the range turned to dust. Lu Jia and them who just left were swept flying by that force and heavily injured. They didn't dare to stop at all. The Wolf King Valley at the forefront of this was completely annihilated. With this palm, volcanoes, floods and mountain slides erupted everywhere on Xinjiang continent. Countless mountains and sites crumbled due to this palm. Yemo was a Tao-molding divine emperor. How could he not know that it was definitely a divine emperor who made this palm? It was probably a Tao-nourishment divine emperor. This palm didn't even use 1% of instant second full power. At this moment, Yemo realized. Nothing in the cultivation realm can attract a divine emperor. The only thing that could was the branch of the chaos tree. When he gave the branch to Wan Qing, he removed his qi, and this definitely let a powerful being notice. As for the chaos tree qi, it wasn't rare for it to be sensed by divine emperor through a few realms. Lu Jingchuan sealed the chaos tree seed in a place in the cultivation realm and sent someone there to guard it, and then sealed the entire cultivation realm, fearing that the qi would be spilled. Of course, this was with Kai Mi teaching him. Lu Jingchuan himself wouldn't be able to seal cultivation realm. After realizing this, Yemo kept using instant transmission. He knew that powerful being didn't use full power for that palm, or the entire cultivation realm wouldn't be able to take it. He must not be sealed on this continent by that powerful being, or Xinjiang continent was over. He was heavily injured, but he was still a divine emperor. It would be strange if any piece of a cultivation realm could remain if two divine emperors fought in it. Yemo couldn't care about his wounds and kept using transmissions like crazy. Although he didn't have time to dedicate to recovery, his cultivation level recovered quickly with the help of the chaos tree. Yemo didn't even think and tore open the void of the continent and dashed out. He wanted to wait till his power recovered and find Meng Qi and visit Lotus Glory sect, and then find a way to go back to Luoyu continent. But now, he couldn't care. He just dashed into the endless void. Yemo knew that although it seemed easy to tear open the void of the cultivation realm, but it wasn't that easy tearing the void from immortal realm to cultivation realm. He didn't understand how this Tao nourishment divine emperor came from the immortal realm to the cultivation realm. If it was that easy, he would have come down ages ago. After going into the void, Yemo immediately called out the chaos tree and purposely released its qi. Then, he put away the chaos tree and dashed away. As a cultivator, Yemo can also be very selfish when his interests were at stake, but he had his bottom line. He couldn't use the entire Xinjiang continent as his shield. If that Tao nourishment divine emperor couldn't find his qi, he might instantly crush the Xinjiang continent and find his qi amongst there. He didn't need to worry about destroying the chaos tree. If it was that easily destroyed, it wouldn't be the #1 tree in the universe. It's not an ordinary truth realization state cultivator, and he escaped from my palm? A white-faced man appeared at the Wolf King Valley rubbles and murmured. But after this he looked at the direction Yemo disappeared and murmured. Interesting, you're not a cultivation realm cultivator, and you can easily tear the void here. You want to draw me into the void? As you wish then. So what if you're already a divine emperor? I'll let you know what a true Tao nourishment divine emperor is. A small immortal like you don't deserve the chaos tree. Then the man just dashed into the void without needing to tear with his hands. At this moment, Xinjiang continent was still crippling everywhere. The world laws were on the verge of breaking. A cultivation realm law couldn't withstand a Tao nourishment divine emperor who didn't hold back his power at all. Once the realm laws broke here, the Xinjiang continent would be on the verge of destruction and perhaps become a place like the god Necropolis domain. After the man disappeared, the world laws slowly recovered. When Yemo went into the void, he immediately released space-time boat. After flying for 5 minutes, Yemo gave the space-time boat to Shadowless and told him to run. He quickly went into the Golden Page world to recover. If he was fully recovered, how could he be scared of a Tao nourishment divine emperor? Even if a Tao actualization divine emperor came, he would let him have it. A gray-robed figure dashed into the void, and just when he was about to grab Emo, he saw Emo release a flying magic artifact and instantly disappeared. Low-grade flying god artifact? The man was dazed and chased up. Half a day later, he could only follow the space-time boat from a distance. The man cursed. "Just give me a flying immortal artifact and I would have caught you already." He was furious. He didn't have anything on him, not even a crystal. A month later, Emo came out of the time formation disk. He felt he didn't recover that well in the time formation disk. It ran for a month, but he only recovered half his injuries. Emo knew this was because his power involved world laws. The time formation disk only had time law and could no longer satisfy him. Emo asked Shadowless. Although they couldn't shake the down nourishment Divine Emperor off, the down nourishment Divine Emperor couldn't catch up to them. Emo ignored that down nourishment Divine Emperor and set up a spirit gathering formation with god crystals and sat on a god's spirit range to recover. Time flew by. Without using the time formation disk, Emo's injuries recovered extremely. Another month passed and Emo had completely recovered. His cultivation level returned to down molding Divine Emperor. He didn't completely wake up, but he felt a new Tao law. It was Samsara law. It was obscure but had a framework in his mind. A life-crippling bridge formed in his will, and below it was the life-crippling river. He recovered every step he took on the bridge. Each step seemed to represent his every life print. Just when he was about to be swept away by Yin Qi, he seemed to see his own samsara. This was the samsara he was about to enter into. Life-crippling, void, will, samsara. These things circulated around Emo, forming a clear whirlpool. Emo suddenly lifted his hand and released this whirlpool. It appeared as though time was flowing back in the golden page world. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2081 Battle Truth Divine Emperor. Chapter 2081 Battle Truth Divine Emperor. Font big middle small previous index next at bookmarks. However, before that she could completely explode, that feeling disappeared from Emo. Emo opened his eyes with dissatisfaction. He knew that he didn't have enough foundation and couldn't completely learn this time Samsara God art. He only learned less than half. It was due to his own cultivation level that he couldn't keep learning it. Who knew when he would have such enlightenment next time? Emo dashed out of the golden page world and looked at Shadowless. "Have I been in solitary cultivation for more than half a year?" "Boss, it's almost a year, but don't worry, even if we run for another year that guy wouldn't be able to catch up to us." Shadowless gloated. Emo slapped over. "My power has recovered, do we need to run for another year? It's just a down nourishment Divine Emperor. I could even beat a Tao actualization Divine Emperor." "Yes, it's that guy's misfortune that he chased after boss." Shadowless waved his tail. "Boss, when are we going after that Hun Tian Pan dragon fruit? I heard Small Ginseng say that thing is the best for making wine. Chiu Rang and Small Ginseng said it many times, so I had to come ask boss, hee. After things here are done, we'll go." Emo knew that Shadowless desperately wanted to increase his power. Emo let Shadowless go into the golden page world and slowed the space-time boat down. If it wasn't for the Chaos Tree, Truth Divine Emperor would have long stopped chasing. But thinking about the Chaos Tree, Truth Divine Emperor was on fire. He wasn't going to stop even if he chased for decades or a century. He had changed his mindset. He was in no rush to catch up to Emo. He was going to get close to it slowly. After a year, he found that he was getting closer. If he continued at this pace, in just 10 years he could catch up. And he knew it might even be less than 10 years, as the space-time boat probably burned a huge number of immortal crystals. Just when he set his mind, he found that the space-time boat slowed. Truth Divine Emperor was confused for a moment, and just rejoiced. He thought he would need to chase for a decade, but in just a year, that guy couldn't keep running. At this moment he sped up. A huge planet appeared in Yemo's spirit sense, and he was planning to go there to battle. Regardless if this planet had life, Yemo stopped and stood on an asteroid that flew over. Half a minute later, Truth Divine Emperor appeared before Yemo. "Ha! I finally caught up to you. Kid, give me the Chaos Tree. The Emperor shall give you a quick death." Truth Divine Emperor laughed. Yemo looked calmly at Truth Divine Emperor. "We can discuss that later. Tell me how you came from the immortal realm to the cultivation realm?" "I used a lot of means to come from over there. It seems I overestimated you. I thought you were a divine emperor, but you're a mere immortal emperor. You can cross to the cultivation realm and not have your cultivation level restricted. That's very amazing. If I'm not wrong, you probably mastered a law." Truth Divine Emperor calmed down and praised Yemo. Yemo didn't answer. He was waiting for Truth Divine Emperor to answer him. Even an immortal emperor who mastered a law can't completely hide the chaos world unless you're the Chaos Tree's master, or you have a Woolard with all 5 elements, or you have a chaos world. Truth Divine Emperor's eyes shot out with beam. Before Divine Tao rebirth, he had the best things amongst the divine emperors in the immortal realm, but even he didn't have chaos world. "You talk a lot of useless shit. I asked how you came down from the immortal realm." Yemo really couldn't contain himself anymore. If it wasn't that he wanted to know how this divine emperor came down from the immortal realm, he would have attacked already. "Immortal realm? Haha." Truth Divine Emperor laughed. "For the immortal realm, I burned my life and immortal essence to kill that divine Tao powerful being who came, but the sly bunch in the immortal realm ambushed me. I should be grateful to them. If they didn't break the immortal realm barrier together, I wouldn't be able to charge out of the immortal realm with me essence spirit." Yemo immediately realized who this person was and asked, "So you're Truth Divine Emperor, the number 1 divine emperor of the immortal realm?" "That's right, I'm Truth Divine Emperor." Truth Divine Emperor said pridefully. Yemo came from the immortal realm. It wasn't strange that Yemo knew his name. Then he glanced at Yemo. "I'm amazed that a mere immortal emperor like you can come to the cultivation realm and ignore the world law suppression. If the world law couldn't suppress a powerful being, then the world law may cripple at any time. But if the suppression worked, then even the most powerful being would have to be suppressed in the cultivation realm. Your body and essence spirit was destroyed, but you completely recovered?" Yemo asked in shock. He was amazed that Truth Divine Emperor didn't lose any power after reviving. Truth Divine Emperor said coldly, "If you think that the ghost spirit ships are my true soul, then stop. I was hunted by those sly bunch. Would I leave my essence spirit in the immortal realm? If it wasn't for the divine Tao realm powerful being battle, even if a few divine emperors attacked me, the immortal realm barrier might not be broken. I can only say that the heavens didn't want me to die. As soon as I rebirthed, I sensed my immortal carnage tower. After I take the Chaos Tree, I'll go back and see my tower." "You felt the immortal carnage tower in the immortal realm?" Yemo was suddenly sweating cold. He had known from Sujin when that the tower was in Yemo's hands. If Truth Divine Emperor sensed it in the immortal realm, it meant that Yemo had ascended. If the Truth Divine Emperor wasn't drawn over by the Chaos Tree, then Yemo didn't dare to keep imagining. "Hand it over, don't force me to attack, or you would have even get a chance to go into samsara." Truth Divine Emperor stared at Yemo. Yemo sighed. "I was thinking about letting you live, but there's no need now." "Die? You're asking to die?" Truth Divine Emperor didn't expect he talked for so long, but this immortal emperor was just playing with him. He wasn't going to tolerate this and grabbed at Yemo with his hand. An immortal emperor was no different to an insect to him. But just when he lifted his hand, he felt this terror coming from his soul. A powerful murderous chi broke his down nourishment divine emperor domain and locked onto his soul and body. His body was reborn, but he couldn't find any way out of that powerful lethal force. Golden bow of divine extermination. Truth Divine Emperor recognized it when he saw Yemo draw the bow at him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2082 6 Arrows. Chapter 2082 6 Arrows. In that instant, Truth Divine Emperor didn't think about running away. He knew better than anyone the terror of the golden bow of divine extermination. It would be idiotic to run away in front of the golden bow of divine extermination. Truth Divine Emperor was shaking with cold, but he didn't think he lost. First, Yemo was just an immortal emperor. Even if an immortal emperor had the golden bow of divine extermination, he wouldn't be able to release most of instant second power. Second, it was uncertain how many arrows Yemo had. Truth Divine Emperor didn't speak and stretched his domain out like crazy. He was going to use his domain to crush Yemo's domain, and then deal with the bone arrows. But soon Truth Divine Emperor found something was wrong. His domain clashed with Yemo's dun, and it was like mud entering an ocean. Suddenly Yemo's domain increased in power. The powerful charge from domain shaked his domain. Truth Divine Emperor was shocked. He knew clearly now that Yemo wasn't an immortal emperor but was a divine emperor who wasn't any weaker than him. A faint golden mark swiped across their domains and smashed towards Truth Divine Emperor. This area of void fell bleak and lifeless. A terrifying mark was left in the void by this arrow. Void wind blades flew out of the marks and hit their divine emperor domains before turning into nothing. Splurge. Blood mist exploded. Truth Divine Emperor's arm that stopped the bone arrow was completely pulverized. Truth Divine Emperor used this opportunity to charge into the void fissure created by the golden bone arrow. Using his experience, he felt Yemo's cultivation level and knew that even without the golden bow of divine extermination, he might not be able to beat Yemo. He was already thinking about how to get away now. The void fissure created by Waikia arrow was where he was going to flee. After Yemo vindicated Tao, he had been fighting in the God Necropolis domain. The God Necropolis domain space was very stable, and even if a Tao actualization divine emperor attacked with full power, it couldn't create void fissures. He didn't expect this many void fissures would be created in the cultivation realm void with one arrow. He didn't expect even more that Truth Divine Emperor would sacrifice an arm to flee. The instant Truth Divine Emperor fled, Yemo knew that he wasn't as experienced as Truth Divine Emperor, and he knew the terror of Truth Divine Emperor. His golden bone arrow was spirit controlled to the 99th level restriction, but Truth Divine Emperor could block one arrow with his arm. If Truth Divine Emperor gathered his magic artifact, then 6 arrows that weren't completely controlled really might not be able to kill him. One couldn't flee against the bone arrow, but after the first shot was made and the second arrow wasn't readied, you could escape to another realm if you were capable. These thoughts flashed in an instant, and Yemo grabbed his bone arrow and charged into the void. Truth Divine Emperor knew Yemo chased, but there was nothing he could do. He knew he was too careless. How could someone who got the Chaos Tree be simple? The reason Yemo fled before was probably because he was injured too. The only thing he could do now was keep tearing space before Yemo's golden bone arrow locked onto him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to escape even if he reached Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Plus, he didn't have any magic artifacts on him. Yemo didn't even release Space-Time Boat, and just kept hunting Truth Divine Emperor. He wouldn't allow Truth Divine Emperor to escape, or Yemo would be in danger. Truth Divine Emperor really wanted to know why Yemo hunted him this crazily. Even if he was scared that news of the Chaos Tree had spilled, Yemo shouldn't chase him. The news was already leaked. He was certain he wasn't the only one who sensed the Chaos Tree. There were void fissures, storms, and wind blades between the voids, but Yemo and Truth Divine Emperor pretty much ignored these. It was like a tickle to them. When Yemo's golden bow of divine extermination locked onto Truth Divine Emperor had to stop again. 3 golden beams shot out. These 3 golden arrows didn't create void fissures again. Truth Divine Emperor knew that Yemo learned from his past mistake. Since Yemo could control the bone arrow to not damage the nearby void, Truth Divine Emperor knew that Yemo's power was subtly higher than his. He was very shocked and didn't understand things. He knew his cultivation level. Before divine Tao rebirth, he wouldn't dare to say he was invincible amongst peers, but after that, his body and power were many times stronger. Yet Yemo was on par with him. Just what cultivation method was Yemo using? Someone slightly stronger than him and pointed the golden bow of divine extermination at him who had no defense magic artifacts. How could the truth divine emperor not know he was in extreme danger today? Feeling the terrifying destruction chi around him, truth divine emperor roared and divine golden rings spread out from his body forming ripples. As these ripples expanded, truth divine emperor's face rapidly aged. He had to fight with his life now. The first arrow smashed on the ripple and the ripple instantly exploded. The destructive chi of the first arrow was mitigated. Rumble, rumble. The second and third arrows struck the two later ripples which exploded at the same time. Destructive chi expanded from the void. Before truth divine emperor could breath, two more golden beams shot out. These two faint destructive kais crossed the void instantly. Truth divine emperor was in despair as he stared at the golden ripple. How can you have 6 real golden bone arrows? There were only 5 remaining real arrows and each arrow needed some time to recover after being shot. Yemo shot out 6 arrows and their power was at peak. The 4th arrow blasted truth divine emperor's last ripple and the 5th arrow struck onto his chest. Skin and bones were blasted to pieces. Truth divine emperor didn't have a single drop of blood on him. He burned all his life, essence blood and even his essence spirit to block the first 4 arrows. But despite this, he couldn't escape his fate. He could never imagine that he had forbeared in the void for countless years and even succeeded in cultivating the divine Tao rebirth but only ended up living a short year afterwards. He didn't even find a decent magic artifact in this year. Yemo felt his hands shaky. Even he couldn't take shooting 5 arrows in a row. Truth divine emperor was far stronger than he had imagined. He didn't have any magic artifact and didn't convert his immortal essence to god essence, but blocked 5 of his arrows before being shot down. Yemo admired his grit, but Yemo knew he had to kill Truth Divine Emperor. Otherwise, Truth Divine Emperor would kill him. He had Truth Divine Emperor's Time Formation Disc, Bitter Bamboo and Immortal Carnage Tower. Yemo threw the bow and arrow into the Golden Page world and rested on an asteroid. At the same time, he was thinking that if Truth Divine Emperor had all his magic artifact, he might not be able to kill Truth Divine Emperor. Yemo rested for a moment, and found that he didn't know where he was at all. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2083, Jishi Returns. Chapter 2083, Jishi returns. In the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, Jishi and the sect leader were sitting face to face. Jishi immediately asked her master why the saint was switched when she wasn't dead. Master, you probably knew that my soul lamp wasn't out. Why did you appoint another saint? I'm back now. I hope Shoin can go back to Lani Peak and I'll stay at Immortal Goddess Peak. Jishi said. No, you can only become saint again after 100 years. Jisuni said without hesitation. Seeing Jishi dejected, Jisuni sighed. Uoshi, do you know why the great sun god mountain wants our saint? They want to sacrifice the saint to their mountain. The great sun god mountain has a Tao-seeking peak being. They're far stronger than our Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. Great sun god mountain hasn't been able to relive their prime. If they use our saint to sacrifice to their mountain, the great sun god peak might reappear and their Tao essence divine emperor peak might be able to use this to break through to primordial essence divine emperor. Then why are we sending a saint there? Jishi asked in confusion. Jisuni sighed. Because great sun god mountain is too powerful. They annihilated the Suyu divine Tao. If they weren't scared of Duanmuyuebwa, they would have flipped the sect grounds upside down. After all these years, Duanmuyuebwa didn't come back. I think they probably have nothing holding them back. Even if we didn't give them a saint, they can find an opportunity to cause trouble. If we agree, we can delay for 100 years, so you must not spread news of you coming back. She fell silent for a long while. Since we're sending a saint, why do we have to choose Xiaoyun? This is so unfair for her. She had the least time in our sect. After knowing that Emo was Mu Xiuyun's husband, she planned to help Mu Xiaoyun. She felt that if she did, she wouldn't owe Emo anything and then would be able to reach Tao Actualization Divine Emperor in a short time. Plus, Xiaoyun has a husband. She's not suitable to be saint. Jishi hesitated and said. Jisini glanced at Jishi and said slowly, Roshi, do you think we're going to give Great Sun God Mountain a real saint for them to sacrifice? Huh? Jishi looked dazedly at her master, the sect leader who raised her up. She finally realized that although Xiaoyun was a sacrifice, she was also something that could prevent the Great Sun God Mountain from becoming divine. Xiaoyun was no longer a virgin. If she was sacrificed by the Great Sun God Mountain, how could the Great Sun God Mountain become a divine Tao Mountain? Is locking up Martial Uncle Jilin to prevent her from stopping Xiaoyun going there? Jishi suddenly felt tired. The Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect was this famous in the divine Tao realm. It was a place everyone respected. It was scared in selflessness and the spiritual epitaph of the broken realm. But now, the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect was scheming a lonely woman. Was this looking at the bigger picture or being selfish? Seeing Jishi's look, Jisini said again. Ruoshi, our Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect saved Mu Xiuyun's life. We're very grateful she can sacrifice for the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. Perhaps we can leave her name in the future. Qilan is immersed in the past, so locking her up for now is for the good of her. One day, she will understand my hard work. Jishi let out a long sigh and suddenly made up her mind. Master, I hope we can find someone who's willing to be saint. Or perhaps I can do it. Regardless who it is, Xiaoyun can't be saint. Jisini frowned. You being saint is wasting the will of the entire sect and fulfilling Great Sun God Mountain. You attained huge fortune from the God Necropolis domain and reached a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor in such a short time. I don't know what fortune you got, but this is a sign that the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect is about to rise. How can you be so emotional? How can you handle the great responsibilities ahead of you? As though feeling she was too heavy on her, Jisini eased up her tone and said, Xiaoyun has this ethereal temperament. Although she's no longer virgin, she has the qi of a saint. Another married woman wouldn't be able to be like saint. Xiaoyun has the best talent and a qi that other women don't have. Only she can be the saint without making Great Sun God Mountain suspicious. Jishi stood up and said, Master, I'm afraid that making Xiaoyun saint would eventually harm the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. Jisini looked at Jishi in confusion. Xiaoyun probably came from the Immortal Realm. Although ordinary divine emperors don't know the passage to the Immortal Realm, but we do. If you're not feeling safe, you can go with Martial Uncle Yunhui and go annihilate her sect. Martial Uncle Yunhui already went to the Immortal Realm? Jishi got up in shock. Just when Jisini wanted to talk, she saw Yunhui outside and quickly opened the restriction. Yunhui, come in, Ruoshi is back. It's great news that Saint Shi is back. Yunhui immediately said happily. Why are you here? Jisini looked at Yunhui in confusion. Yunhui also said in confusion. I'm very bewildered too. The place we found can definitely sense the Immortal Realm Qi, but this time, I couldn't find it at all. The Immortal Realm's Qi had been completely segregated. It seems someone has set up a formation to separate the Immortal Realm from the Divine Tao Realm. I'm planning to go check it again. Really? Jisini frowned. Even if the Immortal Realm people knew there was a tunnel to the Divine Tao Ray, wouldn't be able to seal it. I suspect someone from this realm did it. I don't know the reason yet. Yunhui answered. Jishi suddenly said, Master, we don't need to go to the Immortal Realm. I'm talking about Xiaoyun's husband. I saw him at the God Necropolis domain. What? You're saying Xiaoyun's husband went to the God Necropolis domain? Jisini suddenly got up. How could that be? The news she got was that Shiyun's husband was probably dead already or fighting in the cultivation realm. She nodded. Yes, he's called Yemo. I owe him a favor. It was due to him that I could cross the life-crippling bridge. You crossed the life-crippling bridge. Jisini and Yunhui both got up in shock. Crossing that bridge meant there was the chance to reach Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. This news was too shocking. Jisini thought Jishi came back from the God Necropolis domain border. What was inside the life-crippling forbidden grounds? Jisini's tone was shaky. Jishi shook her head. Just as I crossed it, I was devoured by a space fissure. When I came out, I found I was at the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. So that's it. Jisini sat down. Moments later she explained. Life-crippling bridge is also called Samsara Heart Bridge. The crevices at the end of the bridge pretty much is the border of Samara. If you didn't go into the Samsara River, those void fissures are called heart mark void. These heart mark voids would take the person where they want to go the most. You were able to return to the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect accurately probably because you were in the 9 Lotus stand. So that's it, Jishi said. Jisini nodded. We'll talk about that later. Tell me about Shiyun's doubt partner? Jishi's face went serious. She began talking about what Yemo, and when she finished, she said worriedly, Master, Yemo is the strongest immortal emperor I've seen. Of course, I'm certain he's not immortal emperor. I owe him, but most importantly, if he didn't die and the sect did something against Xiaoyun, our sect will. You're saying he chatted very well with that Gong Yangan and even became friends? Jisini frowned. Yes, Gong Yan Qian Bei indeed got along with Yemo. They're friends as equals. Jishi said. Yunhui suddenly said. Sect leader, that Yemo fell down the life-crippling river. No matter how powerful he is, he can't survive. That Gong Yangan only met him once and he's dead. I believe Gong Yangan probably wouldn't remember him. Plus, it's not even certain if Gong Yangan can come out of the God Necropolis domain. According to Jishi, Yemo just killed the Dao Molding Divine Emperor, so his power is probably at Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. But our Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect has Dao Essence Divine Emperor. A mere Yemo is nothing. Master, I mean to give Xiaoyun's soul back to her. Jishi agreed to Xiaoyun that she would get her soul back. Jisini shook her head. I can only give it back when she heads to the Great Sun God Mountain. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2084 Douanmuyuebwa. Chapter 2084 Douanmuyuebwa. Yemo stopped in the void. He still wanted to set up a formation for Lotus Glory Sect and visit where Xiaoyun stayed and find Meng Qi. But clearly, that was impossible now. There were countless realms connected to the void and the universe was vast. He just reached down Molding Divine Emperor. He was far from letting his spirit will cross voids and realms. He really wanted to know how Truth Divine Emperor went back to the immortal realm, but Truth Divine Emperor wouldn't tell him. There were plenty of God crystals and God's spirit ranges in his golden page world, but Yemo knew that even if he used them all he wouldn't be able to reach Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor needed fortune and understanding of Dao law. This wasn't a piling up of resources. Shadowless, control the space-time boat. Wherever you feel there is people, just go there. You can tear the void here easily, Yemo said. He didn't know the direction anyways, so there was no difference if he was flying or shadowless. Shadowless loved to do such things. In order to have fun in the void, Small Ginseng and Qiu Rang came out of the Golden Page world too. They both said that one extra person had one extra way. Yemo knew these three together would just waste more time, but he didn't have the mood to chat with these guys, so he let them all out. Yemo went back into the Golden Page world. He was going to build an exquisite residence for Qi Wan Qing. Yemo used his best materials and even that unused God Heart Stone. Yemo was very meticulous. Half a month later, he built an extremely beautiful palace for Qi Wanqing. A top-grade god spirit range was used to provide essence Qi for the palace, and a top formation was used to protect it. Qi Wanqing's room was at the back of the palace. Yemo planted thousands of immortal spirit herb and immortal flowers around the palace. Space-time boat flew like a headless fly in the void, but Yemo could only let them do as they please. He was perfecting his god arts in the Golden Page world and would stay with Qi Wanqing when he had the time. 3 months later, Yemo felt his Tao wave laws become more fluid. Today, Yemo left Qi Wanqing's place and felt Shadowless' desperate call. Yemo immediately scanned his spirit sense out and found that the three were trying their best to control the space-time boat. There was an extremely huge whirlpool in front of them. If they didn't try their hardest, the space-time boat would have been swept in already. Despite this, a little less than half of the boat was gone. Yemo quickly sent the three into the Golden Page world. The next moment, the Golden Page world was sucked into the whirlpool. "Boss, I seem to feel we should go this way so." Shadowless looked down and called. It was completely his responsibility this time. He said to go close to that whirlpool and said it would definitely be fine. He even said that he and Yemo had seen such whirlpool before, and it would be fine as long as you didn't go in. In the end, the three neared it and lost control. They couldn't even go back into the Golden Page world due to the powerful suction force. Yemo sighed. When he gave the space-time boat to Shadowless, he should have expected such things to happen. There were countless whirlpools in the void, but luckily they had Golden Page world. They wouldn't die from it. Yemo didn't have the mood to tell Shadowless off. They were already lost anyways. So what if they were swept away? Yemo had seen these whirlpools more than once before. Sometimes they lead to another void, sometimes they lead to another realm. If they really went to another realm, that would be good. But when Yemo felt the outside get colder and colder, he felt things wasn't thing. When the Golden Page world fell into the whirlpool, it seemed to be dropping straight down non-stop. Yemo was just Tao molding Divine Emperor, but his spirit sense was for beyond Tao molding Divine Emperor. Yet despite this, his spirit sense was quickly invaded by the coldness. His Golden Page world spun faster and faster, and his spirit sense lasted shorter and shorter. A month later, the whirlpool finally disappeared. Yemo felt that coldness go away. The Golden Page world appeared in a dark gray world. Yemo felt this world was empty. It had no life, no qi, no temperature. Yemo came out of the Golden Page world and stood on this dark gray place. He scanned his spirit sense out slowly. All that his spirit sense saw was dark gray. There wasn't even color in this world. What is this place? It doesn't seem to be the void? Shadowless came out of the void. Yemo looked around and said, "This isn't the void. If I'm not wrong, it's a world. A powerful immortal solitary world. There's a gray stone house ahead and a dead person inside. Let's go have a look." Yemo saw that the world wasn't big. This stone house was perhaps the only structure here. There wasn't even a door to the house. Yemo walked in with Shadowless and saw a dark gray body. It was leaning against the wall with instant second head hanging down. There was an 80 centimeters spear pierced from his back. Yemo suddenly felt this sense of familiarity from this person. It was indescribable, but Yemo turned his eyes to the spear. He didn't feel any chi in this world, but when his spirit sense scanned this spear, a sharp killing intent shot out from the spear. Yemo felt his sea of consciousness go cold. He immediately stabilized his sea of consciousness. He was very shocked. This spear wasn't even released, and it was this terrifying. Just how savage would it be if it was activated? "There's writing on the wall," Shadowless said. Yemo saw it too. He walked closer. This body seemed extremely ugly, but there were 2 strands of tears trickling down that didn't dissipate with time. "My name Duanmuyuebwa, Suyu Divine Tao." Seeing the sect name, Yemo immediately remembered the 7th painting he saw in that estate at the bottom of the river. There was a grand sect in the painting. A gray-robed man stood before the sect in the air. "I understand," Yemo muttered to himself. No wonder this corpse felt familiar. It was the figure he saw in the painting. Guillermo knew this man was definitely not ordinary. His back seemed much cooler than his look, but someone like that died here. Guillermo sighed. If the riverbed estate was set up by Duanmuyuebwa, then he was definitely a powerful being. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2085 The Way Back. Chapter 2085 The Way Back. Divine Tao Samsara is broken, Tao pursuers forgot the source of life. I vindicated primordial essence Tao, will open the divine Tao realm Samsara, connect to the underworld and rebuild Samsara with great determination. There was a long message on the wall. After reading it, Guillermo couldn't help feel a pity for Duanmuyuebwa. This person vindicated primordial essence. He felt very heartache seeing that divine Tao realm cultivators slaughter and rob with any means necessary for cultivation. He wanted people to know that even if they couldn't vindicate great Tao, they could still go into samsara and cultivate from the start as long as they had goodwill in their hearts. But samsara was extremely hard in the divine Tao realm. Only 1 in 10s or 100 could go into samsara. Duanmuyuebwa wanted people to have more goodwill and decided to use his power to open a path to the underworld. Duanmuyuebwa did go into the underworld and saw it, but at this moment, he realized he was too weak. Even though he was a primordial essence divine emperor in the divine Tao realm, he was nothing in the underworld. He went through countless years of hardship and still couldn't fulfill his dream. After he was ambushed and fled from the underworld, he hid into his small world. His sea of consciousness cracked open and just left a few messages of the dark lightning bead, and his sea of consciousness completely crumbled. Thus, he could only write on the wall. Guillermo looked around but didn't see any dark lightning bead, but he didn't care. He just wanted to get out quickly. If there was no way out, he was planning to break the Grey World. When Duanmuyuebwa left his message, he felt the Suyu divine Tao annihilated and battles everywhere in the divine Tao realm. Countless immortals and divine emperors died. Duanmuyuebwa felt very sad that he couldn't help at all when the sect that raised him was annihilated. While he was trying to pave a path in samsara for the divine Tao realm, his sect was annihilated clean by the people of the divine Tao realm. This made his heart die too, and his life force deplete more rapidly. The message stopped there. It didn't say who was hunting him, nor why he was hunted, nor how to get out. Guillermo sighed. If Duanmuyuebwa didn't sense his Suyu divine Tao being annihilated, perhaps he would have had sliver of hope to live. He didn't believe that Duanmuyuebwa paved the underworld passage purely out of altruistic motives. He definitely had his own agenda, but regardless it was very beneficial to the divine Tao realm. Guillermo grabbed the short spear that killed Duanmuyuebwa. A vast and extreme killing intent came from the spear. It was like the killing intent was ready to kill. Even with Guillermo's power, he almost let go. Such powerful spear, this killing intent is no ordinary thing, Guillermo said. Shadowless. Boss, if you don't like this spear, you can give it to me. Guillermo ignored Shadowless. Guillermo used his god essence, and the short spear quickly left Duanmuyuebwa's body. This extremely restlessness came from the spear. Guillermo suppressed with his spirit sense immediately, and put a few restrictions on it before sending it to his golden page world. Guillermo felt this spear was even stronger than the 3 treasure primordial essence gourd. Duanmuyuebwa's body suddenly fell down. A dark blood bead fell out of the wound in front of his chest, turning into a black bead. Guillermo didn't need to pick it up as the message Duanmuyuebwa left behind came. This blood orb was Suyu divine Tao sect protection dark lightning orb. Those who can see this orb must be from the divine Tao realm. The one who gets this, if willing to swear to rebuild Suyu divine Tao, can use this bead to return to the underworld passage he didn't finish. It couldn't go back to the divine Tao realm directly, but it could go back to the immortal estate he left. There was an Abyss metal card there, and one could use that card to teleport to the Suyu divine Tao from the 7th painting. Yemo dazed and took out the metal card. He was eventually going back to the divine Tao realm. But soon, Yemo was grateful to Duanmuyuebwa. Regardless of his motives, at least Duanmuyuebwa gave him a quick way back to the divine Tao realm. However, he went around the cultivation realm and had a lot of unfinished business, and now he had to go back to the divine Tao realm. Shadowless quickly said, "Yeah, boss, I felt I should come over here. That's why I came over." Yemo waved his hand. "You're not to blame." At this moment, Yemo realized that the reason Shadowless came over was because Duanmuyuebwa left some chi to draw him here. Those who came from the divine Tao realm would feel this chi. At the same time, Yemo looked down on Duanmuyuebwa's means of action. Perhaps he had a nice heart, but he definitely had ulterior motives for opening the divine Tao realm's samsara passage. The passage he went into before couldn't be entered by anyone. If he didn't have the golden page world, he would be dead. From this, it was clear that Duanmuyuebwa drew people to that passage only thinking about his own benefits, but not other people's life and death. If Duanmuyuebwa set up the samsara passage, it would be a huge contribution to the divine Tao realm. With this, he might progress stronger. If Primordial Essence Divine Emperor was the extreme, he wouldn't be killed. Even if Primordial Essence Divine Emperor was the extreme, there was highs and lows. Yemo had vindicated Tao now and could sense some things about good karma. But Yemo didn't care about these things. He pursued his own Tao. He severed the wills affecting him during his Tao vindication. Repairing the divine Tao realm and immortal realm was a huge good karma, and it could help other divine emperors greatly and vindicate the best Tao. But Yemo wanted to vindicate his own Tao. Even if he was to repair the divine Tao realm, it would have nothing to the award Heaven Tao gave him. Otherwise, no matter what Tao he vindicated, he would still be below Heaven Tao. Yemo picked up the dark lightning bead and immediately felt the ancient heavy mixed chi inside. Yemo didn't check the bead with his spirit sense. This was Suyu Divine Tao's treasure. He didn't want to take it for himself. If this bead can take me back to the divine Tao realm, I, Yemo, will rebuild Suyu Divine Tao and return this bead to the sect. Yemo's words couldn't be called oath. He didn't say what would happen if he didn't do it. Yemo could even sever wills that made him swear during Tao vindication. How could he make an oath for such small thing? When Yemo said those words, there was no reaction from the dark lightning orb. Clearly, it was unhappy with his oath. "Boss, it doesn't seem to be useful." Shadowless looked at the bead and said. He even wanted to say to Yemo, "Why not let me make the oath? I make oaths as easy as drinking and eating." "No reaction, then we'll break this world and find our own way back. A mere lifeless world can't stop me." Yemo sneered and turned to leave. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2086 Return to Broken Realm. Chapter 2086 Return to Broken Realm. Yemo knew that the bead probably noticed his words didn't sound like an oath at all, and so didn't react. He was planning to break open this gray world. He didn't care if this world would be destroyed in the world. The instant Yemo turned, a dark ray suddenly shot out of the bead and struck the wall. In a buzz, a black whirlpool formed. "Boss, it worked," Shadowless said. Yemo rejoiced. It was best that the dark lightning bead could conform. At least he didn't need to waste time in the void. "Go into the golden page world first." "I'm fine alone." Yemo sent Shadowless into the golden page world, and then he went into that whirlpool without hesitation. His spirit sense already reached inside and knew there was no danger inside. As soon as Yemo stepped in, he felt a powerful rotational force lift him up. Even with his powerful spirit sense, he couldn't see completely clear. The spinning force didn't last long. It seemed to have built a tunnel in the void, and in just 5 minutes, Yemo landed in a black room. Spirit sense scanned with his spirit sense. His spirit sense couldn't find a way out. There was a stair in the middle of the room, and it expanded into the infinity. How could Guillermo not know it? When he was at the estate at the bottom of the Qingjing River, this was the stairs he saw. His power was too low at the time and couldn't go down the stairs. This dark room was probably the place Duanmuyuebwa connected to the underworld. Guillermo didn't know if this passage was opened or not. Guillermo didn't think about how to find the underworld tunnel. He just went on the stairs. He was worried if he could go up these stairs. If he couldn't, he would have to find another way out. Clearly, Guillermo was worrying too much. He found it required much less power to go down than go up. Plus, his cultivation level was much higher than before, but the stairs weren't short. Guillermo's speed wasn't slow, but he still used 2 hours to come to the top. Just when Guillermo wanted to take out the metal card and open the yin-yang fish entrance, it opened automatically. A powerful cold power instantly filled the place and brought Guillermo landing on the empty palace. Luckily, Guillermo_'s power increased, and although this was sudden, he didn't face plant in the middle like before. After Guillermo fell in the palace, the yin-yang fish painting closed automatically. Guillermo looked at this familiar palace and was speechless. Many years ago, he left from here. Many years later, he came back. The palace was empty and the paintings were still there. Guillermo knew that if he used the metal card, he could return to the divine Tao realm with the 7th painting. But this time, he was in no rush to leave. When he saw the first painting, he almost sunk into it, but now, he could look at a few more. The first painting was a servant carrying water. When Guillermo's spirit sense scanned in, he felt that powerful suction force again. If he was still immortal emperor, he wouldn't be able to stop this suction, but now that he vindicated Tao, he could feel a primal Tao wave from the suction force. As the Tao wave chi spread, it was like a primordial essence divine emperor teaching him Tao waves. Guillermo soon broke free from this. He was certain that if it was someone who hadn't vindicated Tao, he would immediately give up everything and sit here to derive his Tao. Guillermo had his own Tao law. Of course, he wasn't going to learn Duanmuyuebwa's Tao. He didn't care about the Tao wave laws. He saw messages from this painting. The servant carrying water was Duanmuyuebwa. If he used the metal card, he could teleport to the realm Duanmuyuebwa used to live in. Guillermo's eyes moved to the second painting. It was of someone running rapidly. On this painting, Guillermo could feel the hardship of Duanmuyuebwa's cultivation. These paintings recorded the bits and pieces of Duanmuyuebwa's cultivation. It was the source of his Tao vindication. He drew out perfectly his Tao vindication. Guillermo wasn't interested in looking at the third painting and just walked to the 7th and took out the Yin metal card. This was the second time Guillermo appeared before the Suyu Divine Tao sect. The first time he came here, he didn't feel anything, but the second time he came here he had to rebuild the sect. The place was still ravaged and filled with broken landscapes and dried rivers. This time Guillermo didn't leave straight away, he valued his promise. Although he didn't make an oath since he agreed he would do it. Guillermo walked in the sect. Broken lock-eyes ravaged the ravines, but they couldn't harm Guillermo at all. Clearly, the Suyu Divine Tao was intentionally made like this. Not only were the god's spirit ranges ruined, but even the nearby landscape was completely cut off. This is cruel indeed. Guillermo sighed. Rebuilding the sect wasn't easy. He needed to rebuild the fallen mountains and broken rivers as well as add God's spirit range here. Duanmuyuebwa helped him, but it seemed he needed to give quite a lot. Guillermo shook his head and began work. Guillermo saw what the sect looked like on the painting and could refer to that. At this moment, Guillermo stood amidst the rubble of Suyu Divine Tao sect and thought about how to recover it. The mountains and rivers gradually formed in Guillermo's sea of consciousness. At this moment, a light flashed in Guillermo's mind, and that was when he reached a certain cultivation level. He could recover the sect in the wave of a hand and not form a model in his sea of consciousness first, and then build it. Guillermo dazed with such idea and stopped. He was thinking about a higher state. Was this primordial essence state? However, that idea flashed too quickly and Guillermo wasn't able to grasp it. Guillermo suddenly woke up and shook his head. His cultivation level was too far from third step of Tao vindication primordial essence. He had decided to go find someone to build the sect first, and then get revenge at Changfei Divine Tao City. Then, he would return to the immortal realm. He needed to seal the passage completely shut. Yemo believed that with his current power, even if he couldn't understand that formation immediately, he would be able to perfect it with time. After he perfected that formation, he could return to the immortal realm and study about how to go back to the cultivation realm. He didn't believe that he couldn't go back to the cultivation realm when Truth Divine Emperor could. Just when Yemo moved, he caught a subtle chi. Yemo flashed and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was in front of a man and woman. They were both immortal emperor and were defenseless to Yemo. They knew that Yemo's power was far greater than theirs. "Who are you? What are you doing here at Siyu Divine Tao?" Yemo sneered as his powerful divine emperor force crushed over. The two couldn't take Yemo's powerful force and immediately wanted to expand their domain. Yemo looked at the pretty woman and said, "You're from Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect?" Yemo had fought with Ji-Shi countless times and could immediately sense the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect cultivation method. Hearing this, the woman's face went pale as snow. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2087 3 Big Divine Sects. Chapter 2087 3 Big Divine Sects. Yemo thought about it and realized what happened. The Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect women were all immortal goddess. They wouldn't be together with another man. This was unheard of. Now that this immortal goddess was with a man and she looked very nervous, clearly she betrayed the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. Yemo didn't mind. In his eyes, the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect was only so-so. He didn't even feel Saint Ji-Shi was very sacred, much less this ordinary sect members. She was just a pretty woman, that's all. Yemo hadn't left yet because he wanted to know what the two were doing here. "Wanbei Zhuwenmao, please forgive me for offending Qianbei. It's my fault that he came here, please don't spread the news about us," the man said respectfully and subtly stood in front of the Immortal Goddess Yuhi. "Qianbei, Wanbei is indeed from the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, but Brother Wenmao didn't ask me to come. I wanted to go with him. I'm willing to go back to the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect and receive punishment. This has nothing to do with Brother Wenmao, please let him go," the beautiful woman quickly explained. Yemo was speechless. "I have no problem with you two being together. Do whatever you want. I don't know Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect and I won't go report you in." Before they could rejoice, Yemo's tone suddenly went cold. "But tell me why you came here. If you lie at all, then don't blame me." Their faces became nervous again, but this silence didn't last very long before Zhu Wenmao saluted with his fists to Yemo. "Qianbei, Wanbei, don't dare to ask who Qianbei is. Wanbei had decided to not live on after Yueha goes, so Wanbei will tell Qianbei the reason." Yemo frowned. "I didn't say to kill you, what are you talking about? Brother Wenmao, let me explain." Lei Yueha's face went calm again. Lei Yueha bowed to Yemo again and said, "Qianbei probably knows which sect is the strongest in the Divine Tao realm, right?" Yemo nodded. "It's probably your Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect, right?" Lei Yueha shook her head. "No, out of the three big divine sects, Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect was the weakest. The strongest was Suyu Divine Tao, then it was Great Sun God Mountain. Suyu Divine Tao had perished, so the strongest is Great Sun God Mountain." Lei Yueha said this subconsciously, and then realized that Yemo probably knew all this. She said with fear, "Wanbei said too much, Qianbei probably knows this." Yemo didn't know it at all, so he could only say awkwardly, "Just say everything you know." "I didn't know that indeed. I've been in solitary cultivation." The two looked at Yemo with shock but didn't dare to rebuke. After all, the three big divine sects of the Divine Tao realm was instant second flag. There was no way Yemo didn't know about them. Our sect Saint Qing saved the collapsing Divine Tao realm, and thus was respected by people of the Broken Realm, and rose our sect to N#1 sect. But in fact, there's a sect who wasn't affected much just like ours. It's the Great Sun God Mountain. Lei Yuehe was very precise, and Yemo nodded happily. Continue. Yes. Lei Yuehe continued. Ever since Suyu Divine Tao was annihilated, the people from Great Sun God Mountain rarely appeared. After countless years, people from Great Sun God Mountain started to come out. We know that even 2 of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect combined is no match for Great Sun God Mountain. Yemo asked. You're saying that Great Sun God Mountain wants to annihilate Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect? Lei Yuehe said definitely. They do. You're all sects of a broken realm, why do this? Yemo asked. The reason they haven't done this is because the main peak of the Great Sun God Mountain, the Great Sun God Peak's law, is incomplete. It was contaminated. They need to sacrifice our saint to purify it. Once the impurities are gone, the powers of the Great Sun God Mountain would rise again. Hearing this, Yemo was more confused and asked with a frown. How do you sacrifice the saint? At the peak of the Great Sun God Mountain, slice open the neck of the saint and let her blood flow down the peak until the saint dies and all of her life force is devoured by the Great Sun God Mountain. Lei Yuehe said dejectedly. Then she added, this is just their excuse. If we don't lend them the saint, they would use this to attack. After we lend them the scent, they would still attack. Yemo could guess that she wasn't the sect, as she told her that for some reason she was no longer saint. This Great Sun God Mountain was so bleak. The Divine Tao realm was already withered to this state, and they still want to dominate everything. If this continues, the Divine Tao realm would eventually completely cripple. I heard that a prodigy of Great Sun God Mountain is about to reach Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. They're probably doing this for that prodigy. They want to use the entire realm to vindicate his down. Once he fuses the Divine Tao realm and completes the sect, his Primordial Essence Divine Emperor would be in great completion. Shu Wen said. Then he said hatefully, I've suspected the Great Sun God Mountain long had such plans. You're saying that a Tao Essence Divine Emperor peak stage of Great Sun God Mountain is about to fuse the entire realm and then use it to vindicate Primordial Essence? Yemo asked in shock. Isn't this spirit controlling the entire Divine Tao realm for himself? This was more than cruel. On the surface it seemed to be doing good, but even a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor would have to kill all the living beings here. Even if he didn't, all the living beings on this place would be spirit-controlled and turn into Divine Tao laws once he perfected the world laws here. Yes. Zhu Wenmao sighed. Yemo shook his head. Impossible. If it's just a Tao Essence Divine Emperor, there's no way he can do this. Yemo's cultivation level was far from Tao Essence Divine Emperor, but he had some understanding of Tao Essence Divine Emperor. He knew that even a peak stage Tao Essence Divine Emperor can't spirit control the entire Divine Tao realm. That was suicide. Perhaps he isn't Tao Essence. Perhaps he is already Primordial Essence. Yemo's heart was shook. Could a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor spirit control the Divine Tao realm? It said that the Divine Tao realm had 5 Primordial Essence Divine Emperor before, and they remained in balance. No one dared to spirit control the Divine Tao realm. But before, even if there was just one Primordial Essence Divine Emperor, he wouldn't be able to spirit control the complete Divine Tao realm. But now the Divine Tao realm was broken, a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor might really be able to spirit control this realm, and then rebuild the realm with his god art. That way, this realm would probably be his chaos world. If there really was such a guy, then he would have to flee this place. The 3 fell in silence. Yemo finally realized what Zhu Wenmao's death meant, but he was still suspicious. If Qianbei doesn't have any business, Wanbei will be going. Seeing Yemo not talk, Zhu Wenmao said again. Yemo nodded. Lei Yuehe, I want to ask you another question. I know you're Saint Jishi, did she come back? Hearing this, Lei Yuehe dazed but soon reacted and bowed. Qianbei, Saint, she has been back to the sect for a few years. But now, she's no longer the saint. It's someone else. Yemo rejoiced. Jishi was back and he could get his gourd from her. Okay, I'm very happy with your answer. I have one last question. Why did you guys come to see you Divine Tao? Yemo thought about getting the gourd and was very happy. Zhu Wenmao sighed. He knew he had to answer and bowed to Yemo, because Wan Bei is the only surviving sect member of Suyu Divine Tao. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.